I'm eating, thanks to Sarah. Oh my god. Oh! I'm eating. I'm sorry, I'm eating right now. I'm eating Old Timers Salmiak Clinkers. And what's so special about these Old Timers Salmiak Clinkers is that these are Robusti Salmiak Clinkers.
Robuste. Robusti.
Robusti Salmiak Clinkers.
Clinkers.
And let me tell you, these clinkers are robust. Oh.
You know, in Dutch, it's like a sound, like they call that cheese, they call it gouda.
Oh, yeah. I don't like that.
Worst. Isn't that awful?
I don't approve of that.
Tell me about those clinkers. Now, Old Timers, I got the ones that looked the least fun and the least like candy for you.
Yeah, they're good. They're like very strong. They hurt to eat a little bit. They're pretty hard. And when you bite into them at first, you think, "Oh, that's like licorice-y, but not sweet at all." Yeah. And then you get hit with like the most flavor of anything ever, and it's just like, do you like licorice? You better. Like, do you like sugar? Too bad. You know, like you're gonna make a face, and I like it.
Yeah, sounds just awful.
It's like smelling salts of food. You know.
Yeah,
it like really wakes you up.
Don't eat too many and go into a medical licorice coma like people sometimes do.
Yeah, it's like bad for you, right?
Yeah, no, people.
It's kind of addictive.
It's like bad for your blood.
It's bad for your blood pressure.
Oh shit! Real? Are you serious?
if you have too many, not like if you have a couple.
I probably had like 5 today. Clinkers.
That seems fine. Izzy, have you received your Dutch gummies from me yet?
Yeah.
Were they any good?
They were so amazing. She sent me a Fred Ferkel, who is like my favorite snack on earth, and she also sent me something called not called Nerds.
No, you already know of Mr. Ferkel's work?
I'm familiar with Mr. Ferkel.
Oh, great.
I really love his work in the candy space. The other thing you sent me was it wasn't called Nerds, but it was called something like Nerds. I think it was called like Dumb. It was called like Dumb.
I don't remember. I just
like
got the ones.
D-U-M-B.
They had like a whole shelf that was labeled vegan, and I was like, those.
Oh my god. Yeah, so there are these little, like, imagine the paper boxes of Nerds, but like this is like shittier quality. Like for some reason American candy is like engineered to withstand like a hurricane.
Yeah,
like
it's because we're allowed to use
ready
chemicals.
for any condition.
They don't have those chemicals in Europe.
You know, Nerds just like dissolve in your mouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This like it was like that size. It turns into a gummy basically. I think Dylan, you would like it.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Really good. There was a strawberry flavor, a peach flavor, a raspberry flavor, and the raspberry and strawberry dumb candy paired really well with the Fred Ferkel. It was like, yeah.
And the Fred Ferkel, we should know, is shaped like a little pink pig.
Yeah, it's a pink pig.
I love really that.
Cute. And then you sent me something that was like half licorice, half fruity gummy.
I couldn't tell what I was buying you. I was going solely on packaging.
I mean, thank you. This was, I kind of like entered a sugar coma for a night.
I was like, what is vegan? And she'll go, aw, about.
Oh, yeah, that was perfect.
So obviously the pigs, I should have known you'd already know the pigs' work.
Fred Ferkel.
Yeah, I did my best. It's a weird country. Going slightly insane. Izzy's eating a medical burrito off mic right now.
Oh my god. It's a fun country, right? They do like soccer, they do clinkers, they do I think I've only ever had clinkers is licorice, I should say. But this is like the most licoricey licorice that ever licoriced. It's like licorice with like a special type of salt that damages your heart on it, and it doesn't have sugar in it, and I love it. It's kind of addictive.
It seems like a punishment.
It's so good. Like it's like coffee or something. Like you're like the first time you drink like black coffee, you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whoa.
I get that.
Yeah. But it's like that, but much worse.
You're taking the licorice cure.
Yeah.
The licorice
cure?
treatment. Yeah.
The licorice treatment.
It's, some,
I would-
what's that, man? There's some Roald Dahl ass shit that you're eating there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. This is some, like... Yeah. Some kind of... like, I don't know, what's the opposite of Willy Wonka? Roald Dahl? I don't know. Is that Willy Wonka? Wait, did he write Willy Wonka?
That's fucking Roald Dahl.
One thing about me is that I have never read a book.
A book.
Yeah.
A book. Welcome to Bimbo Summit.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Welcome to Bimbo Summit.
Hi, welcome.
This
Hey,
has been
everybody.
Our licorice minisode, gummies minisode.
Yeah, this is Snack Report. I'm just going to get right into it. Let's be real. People are saying we fell off. People are in the DMs just sending me things that are just like, you wasted your whole life, and I'm like, that's messed up. And we're trying to. I hear you. Like, we've been real loose with it the last few days. Or weeks.
Months.
See, I can't remember what time is. What time is it? How long has it been? But yeah, we've been real loose with it. We're gonna tighten it up here today. This is going to be. This is. I don't know, what's the tightest ship? This is Anderson Cooper. This is the Anderson Cooper show. I've never seen a show. I've never seen the news either. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, like any of it, or
like barely. Like sometimes I see clips. Like I like watching clips where anchors mess up. That's really fun. I like
that
doing.
is funny.
Yeah.
like Dee Mega Doo. You ever seen that one?
No, that one's not funny because she
Yes,
had
it
a
is.
stroke, right?
I don't know what happened to her. It's not okay. There was a lady police officer named Deirdre McSomething, something pretty normal, who died, was run over by a sewage truck, and the newscaster said that her name was Dee Megadoo.
That might not be the same. Oh no, that was no, I'm thinking of a different one where the lady says we have a pretty hebe perdition or something like that. Like she's trying to talk about a rainstorm, and she just starts saying the wrong sounds. She had some kind of a stroke. Yeah, she's okay. I think
this lady was dishonoring the fallen police officer Deirdre Mengadote, and pronounced her name Dee Megadoo. Which is not funny.
No, it's not funny.
It's not funny that she died. It's not funny that she died.
That name isn't funny.
Dee Megadoo.
And then did you say she got hit by a sewage truck?
I think maybe that's not actually true.
And then they called her Dee Megadoo after she got hit by a sewage truck. That's not funny at all.
That's not.
That's
she
not
was hit by a
funny.
semi.
Guys, that's
okay.
not funny.
Okay, that's
Okay.
less. That's less
I am
funny.
looking up the truth. Is that it was a semi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yes, but have you seen the one where the lady says that the skier was gay? I mean blind.
What?
She's like, he skied all the way down the Alps, and he's gay. I mean blind. You never seen that one?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Where the guy's he climbed Mount Everest, but unlike other climbers, he's gay. No, he's not gay. He's blind.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God. Oh my gosh.
That's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
That
It's
is
not
funny. That is very funny.
My favorite one is not exactly it's not exactly a blooper. It's more just like a real loose situation where it's like somewhere in the West Indies, and the newscaster, it's like the weather guy, and he goes, pretty much everywhere is gonna be hot.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
And then the lady anchor goes, then I don't need to be wearing this jacket. And then he just starts laughing.
Yeah, he's delighted by that. That makes me smile.
I know. It seems like they're having a genuinely extremely good time.
Yeah.
That makes me want to host a show.
Yeah.
A morning show.
Pretty much everywhere it's going to be hot is a real catchphrase in this household.
Pretty much everywhere. It's going to be hot.
It's gonna be hot.
You know what? You're kind of going to get a mini hot talk today, I think,
Ooh.
because
Oh, no.
I
It's
didn't
October.
Yeah, it was also in the 80s here all day.
Oh,
And
God.
I
Hot talk.
was furious about it. Worked all day, got off work, drank a bunch of espresso really fast. Now I'm cranky, I'm hot. This is going to be bad, but we're going to stay laser focused. We're going to be on target. What's the most focused programming?
Like do 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 do
Programming?
do 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 like Dateline NBC.
Dateline
Yeah,
NBC.
Dateline.
Yeah.
Wherever they make that noise.
Yeah, that one's good. 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And MTV News
Tick, tick,
Break.
tick, tick, tick.
Remember
It's-
those?
No.
You know,
I don't remember that
Kurt
either.
Loder has to come on TV and tell everyone Kurt Cobain died.
That's so sad.
Do 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 do. You know, it's a news break.
I don't remember that.
You should watch
I
it.
don't remember that
It's a
either.
historic moment. It's a historic clip. Kurt Loder had to tell America about Mr. Cobman dying.
Mr. Cobb, man.
Yep.
Um,
Cobman.
man. I don't remember that, but also I think I'm a little bit too young. Just a little bit, though. Just a
This
little
is-
tiny bit too young.
Dylan, is this not a double hot talk because we had to reschedule this episode due to you having a fever?
Yeah, I'm still not good, but you know what? I'm better. Sorry, everybody, for being sick, for working too hard, and for caring too much.
Ooh.
Now,
Mhm.
a
last
lot
time,
like the subject of this episode.
that's right. Now, during our recent episode on the Kennedys, I said the only two things I knew about Richard Nixon as a joke. I said that he had a dog named Checkers,
Mhm.
and that I forgot the other thing already. What's the other thing I know? That he went to China.
He was the first president to go to China
Yeah,
at all, or in the capacity as a president.
I
In
think.
his capacity as the president.
Well, I think probably B.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Also, like, what about, like, did anybody do that in, like, 1850 or whatever? He was definitely the first president to go, like, post-communist China stuff.
Yeah.
But those are two things I said as a joke. And then the other two here said, you do Nixon next time.
you're talking about
And I
us.
said, these two said, you got to do Nixon next time. And I said, okay. And now I think maybe, does anyone else feel this way? Like, I have like a mental block about the entire Nixon thing. And I think it's because...
I wouldn't say that about myself, no.
Oh, really? Okay.
I haven't looked deeply inward on this subject at all, though.
Yeah.
I found this extremely challenging because I found that I have like a deep mental block. And I think it's because like the boomers, like parents' generation just talked about it so much. Like Watergate. That like anytime anyone says anything about like Watergate or like Haldeman or whatever, like I just shut down. So this was, I just want you to know, this was very hard, but you know what? We're going to do it. And I'm really I'm less interested in Watergate, which is excruciating and not interesting really. So buckle up. But I'm really more interested in the man, in the funny sort of character. Who is this? Who is this sweaty criminal?
Yeah.
That we all, come to love.
Elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
Pretty
is
Ricky.
Pretty Ricky?
Can we call this episode Pretty Ricky?
Yeah. Who was Pretty Ricky, really? Who was he before he was, sort of the Saturday Night Live, I am not a crook
Joke.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
America's laughing stock.
And the answer is complicated.
Mm.
Without further ado, Bimbo Summit presents Pretty Ricky. I'm Dylan, and I'm joined by the hosts of this podcast,
Oh, are you back to being a guest again?
Sarah and Izzy.
Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome back on, Dylan.
Hey, it's good to have you, Dylan. We call on you when we need expertise, and it seems like this is a subject that you're really passionate about.
I hated every second of this. Richard Milhouse Nixon was born January 9th, 1913 in Yorba Linda, California, believe it or not.
You're Belinda.
It's a
Remember
beautiful name for a
what
girl.
wasn't there was like a Kennedy woman from there, right? Like one of the women that the Kennedys were victimized? It came up in the last podcast.
It came up in the last episode because you said Richard Nixon is from Yorba Linda, California.
Oh, well, I just remember us mentioning it in the last podcast. So yeah, maybe that makes a lot of sense. Richard Nixon is from Yorba Linda, California. Born January 9th,
basically LA.
1913.
Laguna Beach.
It's the OC.
It's the OC. He was born on his family's citrus farm. I like these folks
come
already.
on.
And he had no sisters and 4 brothers.
Oh no, was he the littlest boy?
He was the second oldest.
Okay, all right.
They named 4 of their boys after famous English kings. And Richard Nixon was named after Richard the Lionhearted, who coincidentally was also a famous anti-Semite with a bad temper. And much like the future U.S. president, Richard the Lionhearted is best remembered for being captured and held ransom after crashing his boat on vacation in Greece.
That doesn't sound like very lion-hearted behavior.
Well, by Greece, I mean, I guess Greece, and by vacation, I mean the Third Crusade. And then he got ransomed back to England by the King of Austria or whatever, and it was funny. But he's somehow lion-hearted because he did crusades, even though he just like got caught. Anyway, really, that was as far as I could get with parallels between the two. I thought that would be a fun, sort of interesting opener. It didn't work. We're moving on. Pretty Dicky. What are we calling him?
We're calling him Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky was born into a Quaker family.
Quaker orange farmers. Wow.
They were lemon farmers. Quaker lemon farmers.
Excuse me. Sorry. Apologies to the lemon farmer community.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's conflicting ideology there.
Yeah, surely. There's a lot of conflict.
Yeah, I mean, tons of well, not with Quakers typically. With the conflict, they don't do the conflict.
It's there. It's just under the radar,
But and that sounds like kind of an idyllic childhood, right? Like he's from the OC. He's a citrus farmer and a pacifist religion with like no hierarchy or whatever. But actually, for little Richie, it was not a good time.
Why not?
Poor guy.
Well, they lost the farm in 1922 due to financial difficulties, and then they moved into a Quaker neighborhood in Whittier, California, where he grew up and spent a lot of his life. His parents owned a small grocery store and gas station combo, not both. I checked. And shit got real dark for him. When he was 12, his younger brother Arthur died of tuberculosis.
Oh, people used to do that all the time.
I know, right? And it's like so much. And like, how does that even? No, that doesn't happen anymore. What happened with that? We're not doing that.
I think antibiotics happened.
Oh hell yeah, that rules. I'm sorry for him. It's awful. But then also he had a medical exam that same year and they found a spot on his lung, which they feared was like the beginning of tuberculosis. So he was forbidden from playing all sports. Oh. And this is really the beginning of his villain origin story. Because all he wanted to do was play sports. You see, his parents were very serious about the whole Quaker religion thing. And they completely forbid their children from swearing, dancing, and drinking alcohol. So,
oh come on, that sounds like the Footloose people. Like
I know. I thought Quakers were cool, and probably they are.
What's wrong with dancing?
Sexual. There's rhythm. There's grinding.
Yeah, it distracts from. Can't pray while you're dancing. I guess.
I guess.
So he's a young teen. He can't drink. He can't dance. He can't cuss. Which really left him no choice but to be like a weird nerd.
Yeah.
There's like, what else can you do, except run for student body president and lose? Probably because you're a weird nerd, which is exactly what happened. Also, when he was in high school, another one of his brothers, Harold, got tuberculosis real bad, and their mom took Harold, and they left to go to Arizona because she believed that the dry air would cure him, which just meant that like Richard just had to be the mom of the family and just had to stock the shelf. Like he had to go to the vegetable market and buy like produce for the shop and then stock it before he would go to high school in the morning. And he couldn't drink or dance or cuss.
Like no way of letting off steam after all that stocking?
None. Yeah. None. Absolutely no way of letting off steam.
When I stock the shelves, I gotta let off some steam afterwards.
Yeah, if I stock some shelves, I'm not about to go to my junior year of high school after. Are you kidding me?
What if there's an election to lose?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, that had to have crushed him too. Because he's thinking, I work so hard. Surely they'll go with me because, the other kids are just drinking and dancing all the time. And then it's like,
gotta depend on how narrowly you lose, right?
It doesn't say how narrowly he lost, but I choose to believe that he lost by at least, I think it was probably like 70-30.
It just seems like if you come close, if you almost have it, I mean, maybe in a way that's worse, but also, at least it's not like a totally crushing blow to your ego, like nobody voted for me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess he could have had it worse. Like, he could have also had tuberculosis. It turned out he didn't. He was fine. He was, like, sick when he was a baby, and the spot was, like, left over from that. He's fine. Mm-hmm. But later on, his brother Harold in Arizona would also die of tuberculosis. So he lost... Oh, no. Yeah, so 2 of the 5 kids, I guess it, like, the family was, like, particularly susceptible. Mm-hmm. And it's just, like, sad. And it's like, what do? You lose the election... You can't drink. You can't dance. They don't invent Mike's Hard Lemonade until 1999.
Oh, man. What are you going to do?
That's horrible.
That's 71 years.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to... Can you imagine being a teenager? No mics.
And not having any mics?
No.
Yeah, not having a mics in my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To let off some steam.
Yeah, take the edge off.
It was nothing like the OC. Like, literally could not be less like the OC.
Yeah.
And that makes me so sad.
That makes me really devastated.
I can't think of a single character on the OC who has like a single trait in common with this man.
Oh shit, yeah, he's Dark Ryan, isn't he?
Well, maybe he's like Seth if Seth had never met Ryan.
Yeah. He's like young Dicky.
Seth had no friends. Little Dicky, pretty,
yeah. He's like if Ryan wasn't hot. And cool and nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like if Ryan wasn't allowed to dance.
Ryan like fucked and stole cars.
Yeah, like that's the thing. This is the thing. His strict religious upbringing really made him go sicko mode is what the kids would say.
Sure.
So he went to high school. He did all that. He did very well because he had no choice because this is like literally the only thing he was allowed to do. He got a grant to go to Harvard. And he had to turn it down because he still had to be the mom of this family where everybody's like sick and stuff. So he like didn't do that to like work at the grocery store. He attended local college at Whittier College, but they finally let him play basketball at Whittier College. He did that stuff, and then he went on to Duke.
Let him hoop. I gotta say, up until this point, everything you've said sounds like a serial killer's origin story.
That was exactly my take on it too, and like I think, hold on, 1 second.
Like going from having it all to having nothing, and then like being given an opportunity and like having to turn it down.
Yeah,
everyone dying, having to like take on some kind of inappropriately adult role too early in life.
Yeah.
It's
got to like twist you a little bit. Everybody else is like fun in the sun.
Meanwhile, you're like the P kid.
Yeah, it's sad, and you do kind of feel bad for him a little bit. But he got a law degree from Duke.
Up to now, sure, yeah.
Yeah. And this kind of I feel like explains what he's done, what he does later. I feel like it doesn't really at all, but
because he's a survivor. Because he's like, I gotta get what I gotta get.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I imagine like sort of the asshole kind of emerged somewhere in this, where he's like, no wonder he hates hippies.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It's like you guys are longboarding with your long hair and
he's like resentful.
Yeah.
Drugs, drinking beer on the beach.
He never got to have like a childhood or like teen years.
Yeah, he just had to be like a hardworking Republican taxpayer from age like 12. Which like, ugh. So yeah, he goes to Duke University, but he did not make the basketball team. So that is unfortunate because that's a good program.
Yeah, that's where Mr. Krzyzewski was the coach.
Oh, Coach K.
Yeah, Coach K, Mr. Krzyzewski.
Yeah, I write his quotes everywhere.
You raise quotes.
Yeah, on all my notebooks, I've got Coach K quotes.
Yeah, I love Coach K
because I am getting a BA in business administration.
Yeah.
What's your favorite quote of his?
Don't ever forget, hard work is the best policy for success, Coach K.
Yeah, I like the one that's like, do or do not. Awesome. There is no trying at basketball.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's like, that says to me, like, don't even try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's comforting.
I like the one that's like, you miss 100% of the shots you take.
You miss 100% of the shot. Like, yeah.
I always assumed he said that to a player who wasn't very good.
Why anything? You know?
Yeah.
God, Coach K is such a nihilist icon.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I forgot about Coach K. I'm going to be honest. Like, that was just like a horrible flashback to my fraternity days where, like, I don't know, our, like, fraternity president was, like, a very well-meaning, like, blonde boy
Yeah.
who had recently switched majors from dentistry to business.
Oh, hell yeah.
And he
Wow.
had, like, a big...
Did he have a glow up?
I think he had veneers. He was, like, 20 and he had veneers
Ooh.
somehow. And he had, like, wide,
Duff
dead
style.
eyes. I hope he's doing well. I'm sure he's doing great.
I
Like Splice?
Yeah. Where's that? Really far apart eyes? Like Jackie O, like Splice?
No, like, he, like, didn't blink enough.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, there was, like, an unblinking sort of resolve, but also with a weird smile all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, watch out. His name is Brady. Watch out for Brady. He's going to be president soon.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But, yeah, so he gets a law degree from Duke. Good for him. That's awesome. He becomes a practicing attorney in California. He refuses to work on divorce cases because he's not comfortable dealing with frank sexual talk from women.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. In 1938,
Serial killer.
yeah, no, there's a lot of red flags here. And here's the next one. In 1938, he was cast in his local community theater production of The Dark Tower.
What's the Dark Tower?
It's like some like mystery. I didn't even...
The red flag is that it's community theater, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is a
So
man.
he was into theater?
That's the weird thing, right?
All of a sudden?
He was in The Breeders? What?
He was in the
He was in the
Breeders.
Breeder all of a sudden? He loves Kim Deal. He's in the Breeders.
He
Loved Kim
he
Deal.
played bass in Fugazi. What is the Dark Tower? Yeah, I know I saw it was a drama, and then I just
To me,
like,
that
moved
sounds
on.
like a Stephen King thing, but you're also telling me like 1939.
So it is a mystery drama. There's
Does he play a vampire?
the only thing on the Wikipedia about it is that Richard Nixon was in a production of it, so I don't know how well it did. Oh, it's about oh my god, wait. It's about a serial killer whose penchant
Nice.
for disguise
God.
allows him to commit what must be the perfect crime.
There you go.
Did he play the
I believe he did.
titular serial killer?
I believe he
Was
did play the
Dark
lead role.
Tower?
Was he in the Dark
So he's against women doing sexual talk. He is not allowed to swear or dance, but he's kind of breaking the mold here. He's in community theater now.
Letting loose.
He's cast opposite a woman named Pat Ryan, who he pursues romantically. She rejects him twice before finally agreeing to go on a first date, and then they get married because it's 1938, and why not? That's just how it went back then.
People just got married, you're saying?
People just got like married.
Oh.
Yeah.
People do still get married.
Yikes.
So she was an actor also?
Yeah, she was the
They're
lady
two
role.
actors who got married.
Yeah. I don't think they were professionals.
I mean,
Maybe they had big dreams.
acting in a play makes you, I think, somewhat of a professional, right?
I don't know. I think local theater is more of like a hobby.
I don't think they were paid.
Hobby, okay.
I think it was like a, hobby community theater.
They were getting involved. They were just getting involved, you know?
I don't think they were like SAG,
Yeah.
members.
What's up, Patty? Ooh, hello.
Yeah. Pat Nixon, he said it was love at first sight. She said it was not.
Nice.
Which also probably, couldn't have helped the budding serial killer he became. So they get married, and in 1941, the World War II stuff happens. All that stuff. In 1942, they moved to D.C., like in the beginning of the year, because Pat thinks that, according to Nixon, Pat thinks that he's limiting his potential by staying in Whittier, California.
She's a
Which is
stage
like,
wife.
by the way, that is like Los Angeles County. Like, come on. There's
Yeah.
it's not a podunk town.
his potential in his capacity as a lawyer?
I think he has political ambitions at this point. He's been in a play. He's lost a student council president election. I think at this point he's not going to rest until he has revenge.
Yeah.
And it does kind of feel like everything after he goes to DC, it's very calculated. Like, I don't think he would have been caught dead in a community production of anything in DC.
Yeah.
You know? But he moves to DC in 1942. And then he joins the Navy. And I have some questions. And this is
late to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he's got to be he's 1913, 1942. So he's like almost 30, right?
Yeah, but that's like old back then.
That's
you're supposed to be like settled down and have like 8 kids by the time you're 29.
Yeah, you're supposed to like, if you're joining the Navy, you're supposed to like fake your registration, your birthday or whatever.
Because you're 15.
Exactly, yeah, because they promised you free cigarettes if you go on the boat with them or whatever.
Right.
But this is a whole sidebar. Like, he joined the Navy Reserves.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe that's a political move. Like, it'll look good if I have.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Army connection, right?
100%. He's like probably thinking about running for office at this point. He's
and
a
the
successful
reserves,
lawyer.
That's like, nothing will happen to me, right?
Yeah,
what's the reserve?
That's my question. The Navy has a reserves?
Probably back then.
What do you do in the Navy Reserves? We were fighting a war on the
Pacific.
How do you go? Because like, okay. Have you guys like seen the commercials for the Army Reserve where it's like, you can help save the world, but still be home for dinner? It's like,
like you're in it part-time.
Yeah, you're part-time. How do you do the Navy part-time? How do you go on the boat for like
half as many boat times?
No, but the boat leaves for a while.
You probably go on for a while, but you do it like half of the year or something.
No, but like the whole point of the reserve is that like you have another job, but like you go do Army shit sometimes.
Well, maybe they're not the guys who go on the boat. Maybe they're the guys who like are in the control
they're probably
room.
like at the dock, like checking the ropes.
They're the dock. Yeah, they're the rope
like,
guys.
They're probably doing paperwork like near the water, but not down in there.
But it does sort of
they
seem
sit
like
on the seashore and do paperwork.
The U.S. enters the war.
Sounds nice.
Like the Pearl Harbor happens. The U.S. enters the war. What's that? December 41. He moves to D.C. in January 1942, and then immediately joins the Navy Reserves.
You know what I'm thinking?
What are you thinking?
Spy.
He's bi?
He's bi.
I don't see any evidence.
Well, the Navy. He did join the Navy.
Listen, you think this man is so straight he's uncomfortable with women talking about sex.
Maybe he's uncomfortable with women talking about sex because it's disgusting to him.
This is no. This is a
like,
straight.
I really don't ever want to hear or see that.
This is a conservative, straight theater enthusiast who is uncomfortable with women talking about sex. Okay. And swearing. He doesn't like women swearing. That's like another thing. It's like that's going to come back over and over again. He's very mad when women swear.
Can men swear?
Men can swear all they want. Men should swear.
Men should swear.
Yeah.
Women shouldn't swear.
Okay.
But no, he's very straight. There's definitely.
For the record, I said spy.
Oh, yeah. He's probably. I don't think he's a spy because here's the details. He sought a commission as an officer. Which, again, not about Nixon, but I didn't know you could do that. So
I think if you have a big boy job, you can do that.
That's the stupidest shit I've So he got a law degree, and then you can just join the Navy and be like, I would like to be in charge of boat stuff, please.
Mm-hmm.
I went, I have a grad degree, and they'll put you in charge of boat stuff.
Which makes you like way more likely to die, right?
It makes everyone way more likely to die, right? Like all the people who join out of high school and like do that for decades.
Just doing paperwork.
But officers have to go on like little missions and stuff.
Well, yeah, let me tell you about Nixon's missions during the war.
Uh-oh.
His first assignment was to a naval airbase in Wapello County, Iowa. He was successful. Iowa was not invaded. At all.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Good job.
Yeah.
By boat or by plane.
He said that he requested a transfer to sea duty because he wanted some excitement, but like he probably was like kind of figuring like I'm not going to be able to like run on my World War II record if I spent the entire time in Wapello County, Iowa.
Yeah.
So he is transferred to the Pacific. He goes to like the Solomon Islands, and he goes to like a couple different islands like next to New Guinea on bases. He enters the Navy as a lieutenant. I guess that's my objection, is that this man got like a law degree from Duke, and then they were like, you are now a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy Reserves.
It does seem like the kind of thing where experience would be really helpful.
Yeah, right?
You think you should rise the ranks?
Yeah,
Like,
kind of.
Yeah.
I thought that like if you were the kind of like, I thought like officers had to go to like West Point or what, like you had to go to like the Naval Academy.
It might maybe during the war when they're like, we need dudes.
Yeah.
The rules are a little looser. I know from watching Band of Brothers that the normal soldiers really do not like it when like a new officer comes in, because he's almost always some like little private school boy who's like soft as hell and doesn't know what he's doing. He has like an important daddy. So I think this is like a pretty common phenomenon.
Can I like
a known trope?
I like, does it scale? Like if I go, like if I take out Mondo loans and I go back to Indiana University and I get like a PhD in anthropology and like a PhD in like global studies.
Yeah.
Like what if I just like stack 3 PhDs, pop out that town at age 45 and just like go to Washington D.C. Are they going to make me a general?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Are they going to be like, you're in charge of all airplanes for the whole country? And I'm going to be like, great.
Well, law seems more impressive than anything you just said.
That's true. But like, where does it end?
A law degree tells me you could probably do paperwork, which I think is mostly what his job entailed. And
that's exactly what happened. Yeah, he was transferred to the Pacific Front, where he stayed on a base, and he I have it here. What he did, he prepared manifests and flight plans for R4D C-47 operations and supervised the loading and unloading of transport aircraft.
Nice. He had a little computer job.
Yeah, he watched people take stuff on and off of planes.
He probably had a clipboard.
Oh,
He was just like checking things.
He was doing spreadsheets.
During the final, days of the war, he was transferred to Philadelphia.
Nice.
And his job was, which was kind of fitting for his background, he was responsible for canceling all of the contracts that the U.S. Navy had signed for, like,
I bet he did that with joy and leisure.
Yeah, like all of the wartime, like, supply contracts for, like, fuel and stuff. Like, he was just, like, canceling endless contracts, which is kind of beautiful. He was chosen to run for Congress by a committee of prominent Republican businessmen. Because of his, he was like one of the guys on the committee put his name forward because he had been like a trustee at Whittier College and was like, this is upstanding young Republican army man. So he moves back to California, runs for Congress. He accuses the Democrat, who's the incumbent, of being a communist, and he won.
Nice.
In Congress, he, does Nixon stuff. His accomplishments include supporting the Taft-Hartley Act, which restricted the power of labor unions.
Don't like that. No.
He joined the House Un-American Activities Committee.
Oh, God, of course he did.
One of the best committees that the House ever did. He's co-sponsored a bill called the Munt-Nixon Bill, which would have required all communists to register with the federal government or face charges.
Oh my God!
Who was Munt?
I don't know, man.
I want to hear more about Munt.
Munt died of autoerotic asphyxiation in 1971.
That's not true. You just are saying that to make me happy.
No, but like, what if? That would be funny.
Yeah, probably.
But like, what a bill. Johnny Munt he's signed with the Vikings for 5 seasons. Oh no, he's signed with the Vikings. He spent 5 years with the Los Angeles Rams.
It does have a D in it. I was definitely just spelling it M-U-N-T.
He's a tight end for the Minnesota Vikings.
Nice.
Played his college ball at Oregon. 5 years with the Rams.
No, this man is Carl Earl Munt.
Oh, different Munt.
Imagine naming your son Carl Earl.
Carl Earl.
2 names that go great together.
Oh, and
Carl Earl.
I posted this in our coworker channel, but one of the things on here is the first one I posted on here is the campaign ad for Nixon's first congressional campaign. And I would like to note, first of all, how unpopular this man just looks. Like, I'm not voting for this guy. Like, for student council president, I'm not doing that.
He has a really heavy jaw that makes him look old and suspicious even when he was not old.
Exactly, yeah. I also love the size of font. So the poster says, America needs new leadership now. Elect Richard M. Nixon. And then in the tiniest little font, it says World War II veteran.
Izzy, can you critique this graphic design? I feel like there's problems.
I like it, honestly. I appreciate this. The top letters are hand carved. You can see this was like carved to be printed for this specific project.
I guess
I like it.
It's supposed to look like a flag, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's got this good balance, and this picture of him is so like, if it were me, I would put a lot more space between everything.
Yeah,
and it's kind of just like really heavy.
I was gonna say the use of negative space
looks like
seems
kind of menacing,
weird to me.
Yeah, the margins are all over the place.
Yeah.
Which makes it have really bad flow.
Elect is like floating diagonally in like an empty island.
Yeah.
I do think that the font size is actually the exact, for a president known for his like dishonesty, the World War II veteran being in tiny letters is like appropriately honest for, because, you know, if he wrote World War II veteran really big, you'd think like, oh, what did you do? You know,
yeah,
were
this guy's
you
got a
at
Purple Heart.
Iwo Jima? Like,
Yeah.
It's like, no, I watched people unload airplanes in Iowa and I wrote reports about it. And like,
this,
you know,
sort of seems falsely modest. Like you're like, oh, that's not what's important about me.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's good.
America
it's kind
needs
of a
new leadership now.
mind games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, mind games.
He does look good here. Like they yassified his eyes a little bit.
Yeah, for
you know,
him.
like he's
They've
they've applied some like
they
smoky
took that white paint and they dabbed the white paint into the whites of his eyes. You know,
Yeah.
so he'd look like bright.
I'm
Yeah.
curious how they created this image at the print shop.
Yeah.
You know? I imagine someone being over his shoulder, like, make it way brighter. And they're like, are you sure? It looks bad. They're like, no, do it.
No,
Yeah.
do it. He looks
Otherwise
he
he'll
looks
look
bad.
Do it.
82.
Increase the brightness. It looks like he's staring into a ring light, which
It does.
he just cannot be. In 1940 whatever. So he's still like a relatively unknown guy throughout all of this, but he became famous after, at his insistence, the House Un-American Activities Committee pursued a already kind of like dead case against a man named Alger Hiss.
Whoa.
Alger, Alger, A-L-G-E-R. I don't know.
That's not a name either way, so just say whatever, I guess.
Yeah, but Mr. Hiss was a previous government official who had been accused of spying for the Soviet Union in the 1930s. But there really wasn't any evidence to pursue this. But they talked to a already convicted communist, agent sympathizer who was an informant, who had turned informant, named something Chambers. Also, from this point on in the story, every single person is named John, by the way. So we're going to call him John Chambers. I forgot his first name. But John Chambers claimed that when he was working for the Soviets, he had cooperated with Hiss, who had left documents on microfilm in a rotted out tree stump in a pumpkin patch for Soviet agents to collect. Chambers led the investigators from the committee to the pumpkin patch in question, and there were microfilms of classified documents inside this tree stump. They didn't.
This is so cinematic.
I know, right? These became known as the pumpkin papers. Mr. Chambers led the investigators to the pumpkin papers in the pumpkin patch.
Paper.
And even though the papers didn't directly implicate Hiss at all, just like that another communist said that he did it.
Yeah.
He was convicted of perjury because he had testified under oath that he was not a communist.
Oh, come on.
And another communist saying he was, and look at this pumpkin patch, was enough evidence for him to be convicted of perjury. And Hiss
That's
actually
gossip. That's called gossip.
Yeah, that's like bullshit. He went to his grave denying all charges, and then after the Soviet Union fell, the former Soviet government agencies were like, we have no record of this man. So he was probably completely innocent.
Or Hiss.
Yeah, but that's what made Nixon famous. And then he ran for Senate in 1950, and his like campaign ad said, "The man that cracked the Hiss case." And then when he ran for Senate in 1950, he accused his opponent of being a communist again. He distributed pink sheets of paper with all the communist stuff his opponent supported. Mm-hmm. He won. He was a senator for a sec, and then Eisenhower chose him to be the running mate in 1952 because of his youthful image, which is like wild for me to like think about. Like, oh, he's like young and cool, and also his anti-communist record. Nixon did immediately draw some controversy because it was discovered that he had a secret fund that was set up by powerful corporate backers.
But that's what they are. That's normal, right?
I guess it wasn't normal in 1952.
Yeah.
He was accused of
not.
accepting money and gifts in exchange for special favors for the like business interests, which now is just like, yeah, of course.
That's like how we do it. Dude,
we
he
had like
was
a
the
whole
blueprint.
system set up. He really was.
Like, oh my God, he was a trailblazer.
Before him, everybody was like all American politicians were like
ceiling.
drunk, like ex-war criminal guys with like one leg who had like one secret passion or whatever, you know.
Secret passion.
Yeah, you know, like everybody was just like some weird guy from the woods who had an axe to grind, you know, who used to be a dentist, but now he's not anymore. And, you know, he like, you know, like fought in the Civil War. But Nixon really became the blueprint for just like, this man stands for nothing. Like this man is just like a political animal who can't dance. He can't swear. Even in 1952, we're so far out from Mike's Hard Lemonade being invented in 1999. Like we are decades away. It's just, I think he is kind of the blueprint for just like the purely political, like chameleon sort of like will do whatever he's got to do.
Yeah, he's the snake, not Mr. Hiss.
Yeah, Mr. Hiss, innocent. Probably.
Yeah, Hiss innocent.
We can't prove that he's innocent, but also that's not how innocent works. Nixon, so he's accused of basically like accepting bribes and gifts in exchange for like future consideration for, you know, stop climbing up here. Bonkers, I can't see the screen.
Tube wants to get in on that hot Nixon action.
I can't see my notes. Bonkers.
He wants attention.
His butt is on the
kissy.
clinkers.
Do not give him a kissy.
Give him a kissy.
Do not give him a kiss, Dylan. Don't give him a little kissy.
I'm gonna give him a little kissy. Hold
Don't do it.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, you better get out of the way. All right. I gave him a little kissy. He looks confused. What's going on right now is that he's mad that he can't sit on my lap.
Why can't he sit on your lap?
Oh, is that his favorite place to be?
Yeah, he needs.
Aww.
But it's also
It's
like
not that cute.
It's kind of cute, but also like he won't like chill if he's on the lap. He'll just walk in circles until I
Cluck
make him
at your
stop.
balls.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he'll basically like stomp on my,
Unmentionables.
And then on my unmentionables, and then he'll flop over, and then he'll stand up again and like pace, and then he'll flop over again.
Yeah.
I just can't have
He needs
that.
to go outside.
Yeah,
I
he needs to
know.
go outside.
But he'll get eaten.
He needs like one of those cat puzzles.
Easy come, easy go.
He'll get eaten by either the hawk or either one of my neighbor's horrible big dogs.
Well, that's life. Sometimes you get eaten.
I know that certain co-hosts in this podcast have long been advocates for my cat dying an early death, and I reject that.
Just simply a natural death. Simply living free and dying hard, as we all have a right to do.
I like my cat, and I like him alive. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying, you get another cat, you'd like him too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's a very weird way to think
that's
about.
life. Like, You know,
I don't think your cat would die if it went outside. Would it really?
I agree. I also don't think your cat would die.
I live on a very like busy intersection where I just don't. He's a little bit.
I used to live
You don't
right
used to
off
train
Walnut.
him
I
to,
lived
like,
right
stay
off
out.
Walnut, and Mary Napkins never died.
Yeah, but you live in like a little podunk town. I live in the big city.
Walnut is a really busy street.
Do you know how many?
Not really.
Do you know how many
4
drag
lanes.
racers have been arrested this
yeah,
year?
the slow lanes.
I don't think it matters when it comes
The lanes
to a
are
cat.
really slow on Walnut.
That is true.
I don't know. Like, the cat would be fine, I think, because someone would definitely stop.
She just didn't go that way anyway.
My city just passed a law last year where they can just confiscate your car if you're arrested for drag racing, and they've confiscated one a week ever since. And there's like
Wow.
an impound lot full of like souped up muscle cars. I saw pictures of it. It's
Whoa.
awesome.
Let them Tokyo drift. It's fine.
No, it
Yeah.
sucks. It actually sucks. They're so
No,
loud.
Why?
it does suck. Yeah.
Oh, it is loud.
What the street I'm on is one of the streets they Tokyo drift on, and it's just like constant.
Just build them a track. Build them a track. What about accessibility?
You know what?
Does the ADA not cover drag racers?
They don't. They don't.
This is
Also,
a fucked up country. This
they
country's
love to
fucked
break
up.
the law. They
This
love
is a
to break the
fucked up
law.
country.
That's
Well,
the thing.
everyone, even criminals have rights in America, Dylan.
No, they don't.
Oh, that's true. Wait, they don't.
No, wait, they don't. They
Oh, wait,
actually
they
don't.
do not.
Yeah, no, that's like the whole
Can't
point.
vote.
Can't vote.
Can't vote.
Can't leave the prison.
Can't leave.
Yeah.
Can't leave the state.
Mm.
Yeah, criminals don't have rights, and
Yeah, and you like it that way.
well,
Whoa.
I don't think that drag racers should be allowed
Be
to.
allowed to vote.
No, I don't. I don't think they should be allowed to vote.
So wait. Empty the prisons. Fill them with drag racers? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I do think it's a funny policy that they just take your car. Like
That
if
is
you're like
funny.
convicted of drag racing or whatever, they just yoink your like the cars that I saw in the photos of the impound lot are just like really nice, like really really nice, like new.
Do people who do that use those cars for like errands also, or is that like their secondary vehicle?
I
Because I
don't
do
know.
think it's fucked up to take somebody's like source of transportation away from them.
Not if you're
but-
abusing it and keeping me up at night.
Wow, you're like that lady in the neighborhood Facebook group who was like, "Who is setting off loud fireworks on the 4th of July?" And I was like, "Madam, everyone."
Yeah, but
Everyone
like
is.
it's all the
It's their
time.
right.
It's just like, oh yeah, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, 4 a.m. One time they did it, and then somebody shot a gun into the air a bunch of times on my street.
That's
and then
how
the
you
police all came to my
start.
street.
That's how
yeah,
you
that's
start.
how you start, and that's how you declare a winner, I think.
Yeah.
You do it 6 times in the air.
Maybe there's 6
If
cars.
there's 6 contestants.
Yeah.
It woke me up. It was scary.
If you can't beat him, join him.
No.
Why
no,
not?
I'm a wait. Okay, so you want my cat to die, and you think it's fine to like shoot guns into the
No,
air?
listen, here's what I'm saying. Go down
Kind
there
of.
with your cat. Get in a drag racing car. Take the cat with you. Can't get
Yeah,
hit
take the
if
cat
it's
with
in
you.
the car.
Sometimes he goes outside on a leash, but he doesn't like the noises.
Aw,
He has to get
poor
used to
guy.
it.
He-
Yeah, he has to get used to it.
He goes
Cats
on
have to
little
eat grass
walks.
and
Scary
stuff.
out there.
The walks though are usually like straight down to this bush, and he just sits under the bush for a long time, and then he for some reason changes his mind and runs back inside as quickly as he
Your
can.
cat has a thwarted and twisted nature because he needs to go outside.
That's bullshit. No, he's fine. He gets to go on walks.
He's fine, you say, as he stomps on your unmentionables over and over
He's
for days
just
on end.
weird.
Steals
Animals
your
are like
pizza.
humans. We have to go outside. We can't be inside all day. We have to go
We have
outside.
to go outside.
God.
Connect with nature.
We have to go outside.
I'm sorry, but we do. You need a backyard.
All
Yeah,
his
go
other,
get
all the
the
other
backyard.
kitties out there got killed by hawks. Okay, they just did.
Oh,
And
come on.
He was a stray, and now he's not a stray. Listen, you know what? Sue me.
What if you made him like an obstacle course in your front yard?
Now he just exists for you. Your cat only exists for you.
What is your like weird? What is like you like really are fired up about like the anti-pet thing? I don't understand it.
No, I like having cats. I just think,
You
gotta
like
let 'em-
having
you gotta let 'em be
cats.
cats. Well, okay, I don't like my particular
You
cat.
have
who
told
isn't
me
even
that
my
you
cat.
like can't wait for your cat to die on multiple
No,
occasions.
I don't want him to die. He's not my
Nixon-esque.
cat. He's not my cat. It would make me sad for his owner if he died. I'm just ready to not live with him anymore. Here's the thing. If he was my cat, I would let him go outside, and then he would not be annoying anymore. He's annoying because he really wants to go outside.
Listener, I would not trust this woman with a cat.
Is he? Does the cat?
I'm so torn because I agree with both of you, and I wish that you guys could see each other's point of view because I think you are saying the same thing.
Is he? My cat wants to go outside, doesn't he?
Oh, he needs to go outside.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with him. He needs to go outside and let his aggression out.
Exactly.
In a bush. Cats need to be in a bush.
Cats absolutely. They need
hours.
to go hide in a bush. They have to. It's part of their culture.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I wish we lived in a place where I could take him outside more often and just let him go outside without.
Yeah.
You know, but like my front yard is the drag racing strip. It's like the main thoroughfare through this area, and
let
it's
him rock.
Super dangerous.
Do you think?
Let him drift,
dude?
You said
a guy tried to kill me with a car
place,
out there the other night.
A guy tried to kill you with a car.
He was holding the car.
I like crossed at a crosswalk, and
yeah.
I crossed a crosswalk at night. Sue me, you know. And this guy. He had a yield sign. There was like a stop sign one way and then a yield sign going the other way. And he was so far away. And this was like a few blocks away, like on like a small street. And I thought, this guy sees me. I'm like, he's like 2 blocks away. And he like slowly at the speed limit got closer and closer. And then when I was like halfway through the crosswalk, he just like hit it. He just like accelerated. And I like had to like run out of the way.
What?
And then he honked.
That man was trying to kill you.
Yeah, like he like was like going the normal speed limit, and I was like, he sees me, whatever. I'll probably be to the other side by the time he gets here. And then he like hit the gas.
Maybe he's looking at his phone.
I don't know. Sometimes people like get aggressive people in cars get aggressive towards pedestrians, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
He was like mad that I was crossing a
literally
neighborhood street at a
I
crosswalk.
know, but that's how people are sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like it's baby
psychology
mind.
Is crazy.
It's like you're in my way. I'm trying to go somewhere and I'm important.
Yeah. And like to punish you for being my way, I'm going to like act as though I could kill you.
I spit at his car and I yelled, you know, get out of the car.
Dylan's real hot.
drove away.
Fighting drivers.
That's like my default reaction to any kind of
like get the fuck out
as a pedestrian. Like what you got to do, you spit on their car if you can. I missed, unfortunately, and then you go get out of the car. You know, but yeah, you know,
do people get out of the car ever?
It's happened a couple times, but only one time it was like somebody I knew and who I like. You know,
we talked about this literally.
Yeah,
last week.
we did. But yeah, it hasn't happened to me in such a long time, and we talked about it last week, and then a guy did. It was really excessive.
We brought it on.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the kind of animals I live around. So you know, I just like, don't want to let him like roam outside.
Yeah.
Would you let your baby roam outside?
My baby's a human, and his life matters more than a cat's.
See, this is what I'm trying to get out of her, folks. This is the crux of the issue. Like, she's mad that I haven't like had my own. She's angry that like I haven't had my own children, and so.
Whoa.
She wants you to have kids.
Yeah, she thinks I've misplaced my affections into this creature.
No. I'm not.
That's what she thinks.
I'm not saying you should have kids. I'm just saying. You know, cats die.
So do babies.
That's true. But listen, it matters a lot more when a human dies than when an animal dies.
To you, maybe.
And I think that everyone matters the same.
Everybody matters
everyone
the same.
Needs people.
Yeah.
Everyone who is either an animal or a blade of grass or a human is the same.
Exactly.
Right. So what you're telling me is you would push a child off of a bridge as easily as you'd push a cat off a bridge.
Well, I don't believe in violence, so I wouldn't be pushing anyone off anything.
I would not push either of those creatures off of a bridge, but to me they are both creatures.
Okay, I would not push a blade of grass off of a bridge. Don't slander me.
I wouldn't push any animals off of a bridge.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, no animal.
Will you please tell us about Richard M. Nixon?
God, I'd love to. He ran for the Senate in 1950. He accused his opponent of being a communist once again. He won once again. This is kind of the playbook. This is just what you did back then. You just were like, oh, yeah, this guy's a communist.
Imagine what you could do if you just didn't like someone.
Dude. A lot, apparently. This is like before DNA. This is before mics. This is before the internet. I mean, this is like.
It's a good thing I wasn't around, you know, like Jordan's ex-girlfriends back then.
Oh God, I know,
Because they would
right?
have called you a communist.
No, I probably would have.
Gotten you evicted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why.
you would have like, I don't know, reported people to the FBI, and you would have gotten somebody tortured in the 50s, I think.
You would
Maybe.
have gotten someone tortured.
Maybe.
No.
I might have.
If you think so, then I think that you are capable of great harm.
Yeah.
Such as pushing a baby off of a
Pushing
bridge.
a baby off a bridge.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I would, but I probably would.
No,
In my darkest
that's wrong.
moments, I
That's
would
always
probably be
wrong.
like, I could ruin that
You'd
girl's
think
life.
about
I'd
it.
think
but
about.
You'd say no.
Yeah, I have limits.
Where's
Maybe.
my dog, man?
Dude, where's my dog?
donk?
Dude, where's my dog?
Dude, where's my donk?
You guys,
Where'd your donk go?
these millennials with their too many tabs open, you know what I mean?
How many tabs you got right now, brother?
Oh boy, too many. I'm like scrolling through them.
Do Zoomers not use tabs?
No.
They just don't use browsers?
No, they just have like one tab open. They don't know how to do tabs. They just have one. They
Okay.
open like Microsoft Edge and they type in one thing into the search bar and then they close it.
I got 10 tabs in one window, and then I have another window thematically separate with 5 tabs.
I have windows based on the business that I'm operating.
Yeah. With separate tabs, right?
I have 36 tabs open. And then I do have a second browser open for work stuff. I am nauseous.
No, because of all the coffee.
You're so good at infotainment.
You're doing
Thank
great.
you. Well, we're
You're
gonna.
like an incredible infotainment
Infotainer.
registrar.
Well, thank you.
Infotainer.
Wait till we run out of notes before Watergate, though. I mean,
Oh, boy.
I couldn't do the whole
We
thing.
don't have to talk about Watergate.
Oh, I'll talk about it, but it's gonna get loose.
We should just tell people, if they want to know about Watergate, to watch the, I think, 1999 film Dick, starring Kirsten Dunst and white Michelle Williams. That's a great film, and it does a great job explaining Watergate.
Yeah, it's too much. That's the thing about Watergate. It's like Watergate is like, it's like the Trump stuff, you know? It's like, oh, let's do an
Yeah,
episode
it's
on like
like
all
really
the Trump
dense.
stuff that happened. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who testified to what? But there are some like cool
Yeah.
dramas during it. I find it much more interesting that he was in a community theater production where he met his wife and he's not gay. Yeah. So okay.
You know what's not too much, so you know it's just the right amount? The film Dick, the 1999 film Dick, starring white Michelle Williams and, of course, Kirsten Dunst. About
Don't watch
two
that,
young
like-
ladies. What?
two young ladies. Is that about? What are you talking about? Dick?
It's about two young. The film Dick is about two young ladies who accidentally get involved in Watergate through their association with Richard Nixon. It's a funny comedy film. I actually did watch it recently, and I was like, this holds up. This is still funny. You know, sometimes you watch stuff that was like a funny, campy movie in 1999, and you're like, this isn't as good as I thought it would be. Not Dick.
No, because
Watch
that was
Dick.
the golden age of comedy.
It was the golden age of comedy.
All
yeah.
those movies are fantastic.
Dan Hedaya, the dad from Clueless, plays Richard Nixon.
Zoolander, Meet the Parents.
Yeah. Drop Dead
Snow
Gorgeous.
Dogs.
Can't Hardly Wait, my favorite movie. Well,
Hardly
second
Wait.
favorite. You've never seen Can't Hardly Wait?
No.
Can't Hardly Wait it's the party on the last day of high school. It has an unbelievable ensemble cast, and it is actually extremely funny.
Oh, like that show that Emma watches that's new.
I will kill you. Whatever you're going to say, I don't
No,
like.
it's like about, it's the after party.
What?
It's about like,
new?
yeah, it's like about like a lady who goes to a high school reunion and everybody hates her, and they have to like go into like why everybody hates her because of all the stuff that happened at their high school graduation after party.
Is it good?
30 years ago or whatever, 20
Oh,
years ago.
it's by one of the Clone High men.
That's kind of fun. I don't know. I didn't really watch it. I was looking at the computer the whole time.
Mm.
But that's how I experience pretty much all shows.
But there's
It's
a
like,
movie.
No, it's like a show. I don't know.
I'm looking this up.
It's on like the TV.
There's a show.
It's on
It's got Sam Richardson.
yeah.
I love Sam Richardson.
Sam
I love
Richardson
Sam
is
Richardson.
really funny in that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, well, I would watch this.
Okay, well, I gotta watch this.
It's kind of the same premise. You might like it.
This sounds like Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. Can't hardly
Where
wait.
did you watch it?
It's on the Roku. I don't know.
It's on the Roku. We
It's
can
on the
find
Roku.
it. Izzy, I'll send you to one of my illegal Russian streaming sites.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I also like Tiffany Haddish.
Oh yeah, even though she like says weird things about a corrupt government. She's funny though. She's funny though.
She is funny.
I don't actually care about actors'
Gotta
personal
hand
lives.
it to her.
I think it's really weird when people are like, actors are dumb. I'm like, yeah, actors are dumb.
Yeah.
They're-
I mean, look at Richard Nixon.
they're busy.
He was in some stupid play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A perfect example of a dumb actor.
Who else was an actor? Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Patrick
dumb.
Stewart
Famously
seems
dumb.
dumb as shit. Patrick Stewart seems super dumb.
Oh, he's just British, so people, when you're from England, people cannot tell that Americans cannot tell that you're dumb.
That's true, yeah.
They're all dumb.
They're not all dumb.
Oh,
Who?
most of them.
Who? People? Or a specific group of people?
Actors.
Actors.
Oh, actors.
Name
They're not
one
all
smart actor. Name one
Richard
smart
Nixon.
actor. Richard Nixon. Yeah, you can't say he's not smart, right?
No, he's like, he played his like, tuberculosis, like failing citrus farm hand into like being like a scandalous president who lives for drama. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's kind of a cool president if you think. Like John F. Kennedy was like,
He's like, I don't give a fuck.
John F. Kennedy was like a fancy daddy's boy,
Yeah.
and like
Richard
like,
Nixon
whatever.
is legitimately he's a working class boy.
I don't think he's cool at all.
he's a self-made
I think
asshole.
He's so uncool.
Self-made, and he was like, I don't give a fuck about the rules.
I
wanna
think
win
that
an election.
assholes obviously can be cool, but I don't think he's the kind of asshole that's cool.
Just
I think
wait
he
till
was
you
like-
hear these Watergate
Because
tapes.
I don't think that he marches to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah.
I think he was mad at all of the cool people in the world, and so
Yeah.
sought to take revenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, yeah. But
he
you
seems
gotta
like a drippy little shithead.
Yeah, he seems like I don't know. He seems like he'd like tell on you for, whatever.
A narc,
Looking at
yeah,
your phone
born-
in class
born
or
narc.
whatever. I forgot. You guys didn't have
Mhm.
rules in school, but
No.
yeah.
We were allowed to sleep during class. Why, Sarah?
In one class, we were allowed to sleep. This is our teacher who had gone on an extended peyote trip where he saw a vision of Elizabeth Dole as the Antichrist.
They have
and
to
would
shut
talk
that
to us
school
about
down.
it extensively. He's gone now. It's okay. He's gone now. He
That
thought it
school's
was
still open.
okay for us to sleep in class because he thought that we could learn through osmosis. And who's to say that we didn't? I nodded off a couple times in that class, and I'm the smartest woman alive.
Greek and Latin roots. That was one of my favorite classes.
I loved that class.
That was
Sphygmomanometer.
Greek and Latin roots was the class you could fall asleep in, and it
Well,
was
we
allowed.
could fall asleep in any of his classes.
Any of his
I
classes.
took depth psychology
We-
with him, which was really fun. I learned about like Freud and Jung and like read them in high school. That was awesome.
I took Greek and Latin roots with him, which I really liked.
Yeah, that was a very fun class. And then I think we took like normal English literature. I don't really remember what we did. But yeah, he also was the one who used to deliver the annual speech about don't fuck anyone on the school trips because you will regret it. And he did a great job with that.
Mike Pence, if you're listening to this podcast, please get in touch with me. I know about a school you need to shut down.
It's private, baby. It can't be done.
Now, excuse me one moment. I have to eat a robust clinkers.
No more, Dylan. Your heart will explode. No more
Good.
robust clinkers.
Did you know that Harmony School used to take place at an ashram?
What?
Of course it did.
I thought it was a church
Someone told me
basement.
that recently. I was like, what?
It was at that one church, like, by the synagogue on the east side for a while. And then it was probably at an ashram for a while also. And then they bought that building for $1 from the city because it was falling apart.
I bet the city regrets that a lot.
No way.
Yeah, way.
No,
I
they
want to
probably
buy
did.
a schoolhouse.
You can.
for
You
$1.
can. You
That's
can,
like primo land
city
right
auctions.
next to campus. It's like an
That's
enormous piece
true.
of land that they could have
Yeah.
just like
Yeah,
knocked down and
that's
like made so much
true.
money off of.
It's a really
That
beautiful
could all be
building.
student housing.
It's such a cool building. You know, they do the extravaganza in October now, and someone told me that they had they
Oh,
turned
that's
the
a robust
basement
clinkers.
into a haunted house.
That is
Oh my
sick.
god, I want to go.
Yeah,
When
they've
we
they've
were there, it
redone
was
a lot
like-
of that basement, but the boiler
was
room
like
is still
a real
so
haunted
scary.
house.
Yeah, the boiler
Back in
room
the-
is terrifying.
Yeah.
It had, I mean, it was just like completely. It looked completely Victorian, It's a really old building, a beautiful
Mayor
old
Hamilton,
building.
you got to shut that school down.
No, it's.
They're
I'm
telling
so
these kids that
glad.
they're smart. They're letting them sleep. They're letting them have sex on the school trip.
No, we
They're
were not supposed to have sex on the school trips.
Yeah,
He was
I'm
like,
just saying.
"Don't. You're out of your normal context. You will think that things are a good idea that are not a good idea, and then you will regret them when you come back." And you know what? Every time we went on a school trip, I don't think people were generally having sex, but people would like start new relationships, and then they would get back and be like, "What did I do?"
Mayor Hamilton, they can't
was right.
multiply or divide.
That's true that I can't multiply.
They've bribed Indiana University into accepting all of their students for some reason.
That's true that I
And
did
you
go to
need-
Indiana University.
You need to shut it down. You need to shut it down.
I
They
can't-
have
I
one
love
kid who went to
long
MIT
dividing.
in like 2005, and that's the only person who ever did that.
Wait, is that true? Did someone go to MIT?
I think Isaac went to MIT.
Klossman?
Yeah, not King.
This is definitely something that we should keep
Anyway.
in the episode.
Yeah, this should definitely stay in the. Oh, probably
Okay.
not, right?
All right.
Okay.
Tell
so-
us about Richard.
Right. So there was a big scandal in 1952. He was running as the vice presidential nominee with Dwight Eisenhower as the presidential nominee. Is that how you say it? I don't know.
Dwiggy.
I went to a school that should be illegal. But yeah, so he got in some drama because of this illegal campaign fund, basically, that was set up by some powerful business people who were giving Richard Nixon money and gifts for special favors. Nixon denied this, and he went on TV. And this speech is now called the Checkers speech.
Oh, yeah. I've always wondered what that meant.
I have a clip of it. Do you want to listen to it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna
So
listen to it.
basically, yeah. So the gist of this is he's denying all these applications. You've really got me effed up now. He's denying all these accusations. So this is just a quick excerpt of this speech, which is incredible. So like Richard Nixon was probably going to get kicked off the ticket. This was a big scandal. But through the magic of television, it all worked out.
One other thing I probably should tell you, because if I don't, they'll probably be saying this about me too. We did get something, a gift, after the election. A man down in Texas heard Pat on the radio mention the fact that our two youngsters would like to have a dog. And believe it or not, the day before we left on this campaign trip, we got a message from the Union Station in Baltimore saying they had a package for us. We went down to get it. You know what it was? It was a little Cocker Spaniel dog in a crate that he'd sent all the way from Texas. Black and white, spotted. And our little girl, Tricia, the 6-year-old, named it Checkers. And the kids, like all kids, love the dog. And I just want to say this right now, that regardless of what they say about it, we're going to keep it. But just let me say this last word. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to continue this fight. I'm going to campaign up and down in America until we drive the crooks and the communists and those that defend them out of Washington. And remember, folks, Eisenhower is a great man, believe me. He's a great man. And a vote for Eisenhower is a vote for what's good for America.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
manipulative in a couple ways. That's why they called him Pretty Ricky, huh?
That's why they called him Pretty Ricky, exactly. So basically, he's like, I'm being accused of basically taking bribes to, further my career.
It was an
in the-
adorable dog for my daughters, you
Yeah.
assholes.
Yeah, he was like, well, actually, I didn't take any bribes except for one bribe, which was a dog, and I'm not going to kill my dog for anything in the world, no matter what the Democrats
America
say.
says I should kill my dog.
The communists want me to throw my dog off the bridge, but I won't do it because I love my country too much. This worked incredibly well. He was like incredibly popular after this. Like, remember that this is like a time where like there's testing atomic bombs in New Mexico. There's like a big cloud of like, atomic bomb juice like floating over the United States.
Are you
There's
saying
like
people are
lead in
dumb
all
from
of
drinking the juice?
Yes, absolutely. Like people are like super dumb. Like people have like plutonium brain. People have like mercury brain. There's like lead in the pipes. Like people are like really, really screwed up at this point.
Why was Dicky so smart? Just from drinking lemon juice?
No, from working hard from his young youth. He did hard work.
Okay. All right. And he didn't drink any of the lead water.
He wasn't allowed
opening
to
doors
dance
with his mouth.
Instead of dancing and cussing like other teenagers, he just read like books, and it made him really smart.
And he didn't get any of the mercury.
But that worked like very well, probably because like I don't know, TV. People were like, well, he's saying it on the TV, so it's probably true. Like I have lead poisoning, but I don't know it. Like that's probably what was going. Like there's like mercury in all my food, but
Right.
People were like drinking thermometers. I mean, it was really a crazy time,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like
putting whole light bulbs in their mouths.
Yeah, people were just crunching up light bulbs and like breathing in plutonium gas all the time, and just like just really going nuts trying to find communists and just eating some more light bulbs. It was just it was a really wonderful time that
fun time to be an American.
That we're all nostalgic for. All of us.
Just guzzling PCPs in a smoothie. Wait, PCBs.
PCP.
PCP is something else. PCP is what Roger's friends dosed him with when they had to tie him to the tree.
That's right, when they tied him to the tree.
PCBs are what they dumped in Lake Lemon up until pretty recently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. People were just pouring. That was like they made like plates with uranium. They like,
When I had a kid, I had to start testing all of my like vintage cookware and shit. I'd find there's lead in a lot of shit, like old Corningware bowls. Like you've definitely seen these. I know you probably don't know what I mean when I say Corningware, but like you have seen these like sort of retro style mixing bowls. Like everybody has these. Everyone's grandma has these.
Oh
they
yeah.
Are fucking chock full of lead. And like
oh my God.
Fiesta ware, a lot of old like vintage and collectible dishware has uranium in it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's mostly like fine
paint.
unless you eat it. You just gotta be careful not to eat it.
Right, but they're
Is it
plates.
the paint?
It's the paint. So like,
It's also like in all paint in
shipping,
houses.
Yeah, lead.
Right, but this
lead
paint like
paint.
glows because it's poison.
Yeah,
Like my
lead
house
is more
has lead
dangerous
paint.
than the uranium. I mean, most old houses have lead paint. It's just that in most places it's covered up by newer paint because they stopped using lead
Why
paint.
did they put lead in the paint to begin with?
They put lead in
understand.
everything. They put lead in the fucking gasoline, and then it got in the groundwater, and that's why we're all stupid.
Why?
It's 'cause
Why
it's
would-
sticky.
Why was
No.
it in there?
They didn't know.
But why would they add something?
Because
I
it's
think-
What was the
sticky.
point?
Yeah, wasn't it that it had all these like really incredible properties. It was like super stabilizing. It was a good binding agent. It like made stuff. It stretched pigments longer. That kind of shit. They just didn't realize that it made you fucking dumb.
Yeah, it made you get the madness.
Yeah.
But yeah, that worked. Like he was like, I didn't do any of that but I do have a dog. Is it a crime to love my dog? And
to
everyone
kill
was
my
like,
dog?
I'm like the dumbest guy alive, and then this guy, I trust this guy. So he, the Eisenhower wins, becomes vice president, and he does all the vice president stuff. He does all the little fun trips. He did help negotiate the passage of the Civil Rights Act of
Good job.
1957.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, thanks Nixon. For all of his problems, he was pretty like okay about like, at least like black and white civil rights, not any other kind of civil rights, but he was like, moderate in that sort of
Could be worse, is what you're saying.
issue. He could be a lot worse for sure. He went on a funny tour of Latin America in 1958 where he was like extremely unpopular. There was like a lot of anti-American sentiment because of all the horrible things we had done to them down there. In Peru, the protesting students threw rocks at him, and then he went to Venezuela, and then
That's amazing.
the crowd spit on him and attacked his limousine with lead pipes.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
They're trying to make him dumb.
And he actually got a lot of sympathy. Like there's like a Democratic campaign memo who's like, oh, this sucks because he's so popular.
Yeah.
Now, like, there's so much sympathy with him now that he also like claimed he was the target of an organized communist conspiracy in Latin America because like somebody like spit on him and threw a rock at him and stuff. Which was nonsense. But don't worry, he'll get his revenge. On Latin America. But he so he runs for president against Kennedy in 1960. Kennedy, you might remember, is the guy from the last episode, not the guy who killed the lady on the bridge, and not the guy who
His brother.
Yeah, his brother. He tried the strategy of calling him a communist. Like that's like he tried to run the playbook, but it didn't work because Kennedy said that he also hated communists.
Guess what? I don't like him either.
It was a real like Uno reverse card situation. Like he was like, "Oh yeah, well this guy likes communists," and Kennedy was like, "No, I don't. I hate communists. Communists are the worst." And he was like, "Oh shit, what do I do now?" And then Kennedy went on to say that he thought that the Eisenhower-Nixon administration had been very bad at stopping the spread of communism, and that they needed to go harder on communism. And Nixon was like, "Wait, but huh?" And then, and that was the start of the bad times for him, because then he went on TV for the first ever televised presidential debate. It didn't go well for him.
Because he's the sweatiest, shiftiest looking man in America.
Yes, I have some. Those are the black and white photos I've posted in Maud's coworkers of Nixon, are all from this debate. He had a visible 5 o'clock shadow. He was sweating profusely under the lights and was mopping up his sweat with a handkerchief. He refused to wear any like makeup on stage
because he was uncomfortable with women doing sexual talk.
It was effeminate. He wouldn't wear any makeup. But on black and white, he also wore like a light gray suit, which blended in perfectly with the background and his skin tone, and it just made him like this perfect gray, sweaty blob.
I want to see what Kennedy looked like in this debate for the sake of contrast.
Looks a lot better.
Like a rock star.
Yeah, here, I'll find it. He looked a lot better. You know, it was black and white TV, but you really think they would have figured out by then that, like, you know, like black and white photography was a thing, right? Yeah. Like, it's like, hey, this is all these like neutral grayish colors are going to appear as gray.
Right.
But no, he didn't. And the makeup probably would have helped contain some of the sweat.
Kennedy looks way more put together.
Yeah. Let me find him.
He's wearing a nice austere black and white kind of big 50s style suit.
Yeah. He looks good. He looks like, looks like a little weasel too, but
yeah, he's not a good looking man. It's amazing to me that anyone thought he did. But maybe next to Pretty Ricky here.
Yeah, here they are next to each other. I've just posted this. So yeah, like Kennedy's
sharp.
Obviously he's contoured. He's wearing a contrasting colored suit.
They did strobing on him.
Not rubbing his nose with a white cloth over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Nixon
looks like a shifty little cocaine man.
He really does. He's just like snorfing this handkerchief and like dripping sweat. And this combined with like, the whole like Kennedy also doesn't like communism. Like Nixon loses this one. It doesn't go well for him. He loses the election. And then you just feel so bad for him because he's such a good guy. And then but you can't keep him down. He runs for governor of California in 1962. He loses probably because people aren't over the 5 o'clock shadow thing or the sweatiness thing. Color TV isn't as much of a thing yet. He wants to be governor of California, but he looks like shit. Like California is where Hollywood is. They couldn't let that happen.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And this starts a period in his life where he just kind of does like retired rich guy shit. He goes to Europe. He just kind of hangs out. He reads books. Just he lobbies for Republican issues and stuff. And he thinks his political career is over. But in 1968, color TV is becoming widespread, and he realizes that on color TV he doesn't look nearly as much like shit. Like he's like, you can see that he's not the same color as the wall or the clothes, like his clothes and the wall and his skin are all different colors again.
Right.
He looks way less gross in color. So he runs for president in 1968.
Do you think he like saw himself and was like, "Whoa, I look way less gross."
Yeah, he's like, they're gonna take me back,
Take me back, America. That's a
take
good
me back.
name.
I'm not sweaty anymore. He learned his makeup lesson. He ran for president again. He promised to lower the crime rate and end the Vietnam War. And this is still like lead pipe fallout cloud time.
Yeah.
And he is asked what his plan is to end the Vietnam War, and he doesn't answer the question. And then the media starts talking about Nixon's secret plan to end the Vietnam War.
Nice.
And so people like elect him believing that he has a secret plan to end the Vietnam War. That's kind of like what he runs on. He does not. Everyone's still drinking mercury and stuff. Also, couldn't have hurt that like RFK got assassinated, and he ran against like a super weak candidate because the intended candidate was dead. He becomes president. I'm just gonna go through some greatest hits because like I can't. It's just we're getting it's getting long. All right. Nixon visits China in 1972. He's shaking hands with Mao. He does some relations normalizing. He bombs North Vietnam. He bombs Cambodia. He tries to negotiate peace with Vietnam. He fails. Then he invades Cambodia. Then he bombs Laos. Then he invades Laos. Then eventually he withdraws the U.S. troops from Vietnam. That was the secret plan. It was just like bombing nearby countries. Didn't work. He threatened to invade Cuba privately, but then he kind of backed down.
Just between us.
Yeah, like on the hush hush. It got to the point where like apparently the Soviet Union like believed he was going to invade Cuba, and they were like preparing for whatever was going to happen. And then Nixon eventually like thawed relations between them and was like, "Hey, I'm not going to invade Cuba." And then they had a big dinner. And then he went in like a kitchen and debated communism. It was like a whole thing.
A kitchen?
Yeah, he went to Moscow. Oh no, that was when he was vice president. When he was vice president, he went to Moscow and he had debated like Nikita Khrushchev in a fake model of an American kitchen. I don't know.
Were they eating dinner?
They were eating crushed up light bulbs, probably. I don't fucking know.
On uranium plates.
He never forgot the rock. The rocks that were thrown at him, or the times that he spit on him in Venezuela. So he goes to Nicaragua, a completely different country, and orchestrates a violent coup, kills a ton of people, puts Augusto Pinochet in power.
That was him.
Yeah, that was Nixon. He supplied weapons to Israel, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. After the Vietnam War, the Nixon Doctrine is kind of his... We kind of still do the Nixon Doctrine. And it's just like, instead of fighting wars, how about we just like give tons of weapons to people to resolve, political situations we don't like?
That was him. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was called the Nixon Doctrine.
I didn't know that.
Horrible.
Yeah, that went well.
Widespread practice now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because like it specifically like bit him in the ass too because like the like he supplied like a ton of weapons to like Israel during the Yom Kippur War, and like the OPEC countries, like the Arab oil supplying country bloc, got angry at him and stopped supplying oil to the U.S. for a while, which caused a giant gas crisis in 1974.
That's why the gas crisis happened?
They were mad at Nixon for giving too many guns to Israel. Yeah, he really, he just was wheeling and dealing. Like, I think that's why I love him so much. He's just like, he's really like, he's got to have his fingers in every pie.
I was about to say he has his fingers in every pie. Yeah, he's like a hustler.
Like he takes what he can get because he doesn't get much, and he just runs with it.
Yeah, he's got a real king of the road vibe. Just like picking up half smoked stogies, getting in there.
Yeah,
wheeling, dealing,
getting revenge.
He's kind of like the original. Like, I'm gonna play both sides so that either side comes out on top or whatever the Always Sunny quote is. Like, he's doing that.
Truly a little rat boy.
He really truly is. He creates the EPA because of like growing like media attention that's being paid to like the environment for the first time.
He's like, I'll throw you fucking idiots a bone. That sort of shit.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to stop eating light bulbs.
No. He's like, Americans you don't need to stop eating your light bulbs. You just, don't burn your trash as often as you did before. Stop drinking the thermometers, but the light bulbs are safe.
Right. So you don't want to talk about Watergate. I'm
getting to it.
All right.
I'm doing the greatest hits before Watergate.
Okay.
We're gonna touch on, if that's okay, we're gonna touch on Watergate a little bit.
Please.
Just because
yeah.
This is because
you can't not.
It's just like it blows up in his face. It all blows up in his face. It's kind of he's created this situation that just becomes, I don't know. It's a very fitting, kind of end for this man.
Right. A denouement.
I love him. He's my favorite president.
Nice.
He oversaw the integration of schools in the South.
Hey.
But privately,
Oh,
he said that
wait.
he said he just wanted to get the segregation issue out of the way before the election.
Yeah,
that was his motive.
It's totally mercenary. That's very funny.
Uh-huh.
Like, all the stuff he did that was good was just like completely practical.
Absolutely, just for like political maneuvering. That's
Yeah.
the only reason he cared about anything. Which is kind of like, what was even the issue that?
Man,
I think the issue was he wasn't allowed to dance. I don't know.
he really was the blueprint. Just not giving a fuck about anything, being like, what's gonna play good?
Yeah, exactly. He did the moon landing. That was cool. 1969.
That was him.
I mean,
it's not cool.
They were working on this plan. This was like a plan before Nixon.
Yeah.
The moon.
Yeah, the moon landing. The moon was also before Nixon too,
Yeah.
which you never know. But yeah,
I mean, they say it was.
he did the moon landing stuff, and then like the second it was over, he cut NASA's funding like dramatically, and he basically said like, oh, we're wasting a ton of money, like I don't know why we're paying for this
King.
shit.
Go
He was
off,
like-
King.
He was like, we did it, we already did it, we don't need to do this anymore.
Check. Went to the moon. Done.
He in the early 70s, he installed a series of hidden tape recorders in his office, which were intended to detect the noises made by wiretaps and recording devices. Hilariously, ironically,
That is-
device to detect a recording device.
yeah, it was like, oh, if the Soviets put a tap on the phone, like it'll make a clicking sound or whatever softly, and we'll be able to detect that from our recordings.
That is very funny that's he got caught because he decided to install unnecessary surveillance to keep people from surveilling him.
He installed a 24-hour surveillance system that recorded, and of course there's a hilarious recording that I will not play because it's like long and not that hilarious, but of him talking to his 5 different aides about who is allowed to know about the tapes and who is not allowed to know about the tapes, and he's just like, 4 of us in this room, plus this other guy, plus 5 other people who are the technicians who change the reels are the only people allowed to know about this. He's like, I only want the copies of the tapes in my private file, and the people who put the tapes in the file will also know. But it was just like, he's like trying to keep the list down, but it's still like 15 people who know about the
Yeah,
tapes.
that's a lot of loose ends.
Oh, yeah.
It's
for
too many
sure.
people.
Too many.
To know about your secret hidden recording devices all over the White House.
Yeah, that just means everyone knows.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and he was not concerned about saying illegal things on a recording.
No.
Huh.
He
to me,
wasn't
that's
concerned.
interesting that you would unnecessarily create evidence of your own crimes.
Yeah, and that's kind of still the mystery of what the fuck, what was he even thinking?
Was this
too many
simply-
light bulbs that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a decision made by a man who has seemingly failed upwards for a
Yep.
long time and probably thinks of himself at this point as being pretty untouchable.
Yeah, I think he thinks of himself as like a very brilliant and talented man. When if we can point to like one point, it's like the wealthy consortium of Republican businessmen hand selecting him because like the guy met him when he was a college student. That was kind of his break, right? Like if that hadn't happened, like a rich guy had to be like, you're going to run for Congress as the Republican candidate for California 12th district. Like
Yeah.
if that hadn't happened, like, I don't know. I feel like he would have opened like a carpet and tiling store.
But that's probably most of them, right? I mean, I know there are like legitimate grassroots candidates, but probably not most of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely not now, maybe not then either.
But if like your life had gone this way and then somebody like came to you and was like, you brilliant young man will be the next congressman, like you'd probably get a bit of an ego.
Especially if you had been like shit on your whole life, you'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
it could turn you into like a little bit of a monster.
I wonder who bullied him.
Right. He may have been a strikingly amoral person from the jump. Like, who's to say?
We really don't know. Yeah, he might have been.
Maybe those Quaker lemon farmers were like, dead-eyed snakes.
Quakers are like notoriously cool though, right? Like aren't they like
Yeah.
notoriously like they're infamously like nice and community minded.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's like their whole thing.
There's assholes everywhere. But yes,
that's so
definitely.
True. Maybe he like rejected his community for being like, too nice.
Yeah, maybe he's like, these people are all like doormats. I'm going to go get what's mine.
Yeah, this is people like this are exactly why we couldn't keep the lemon farm. I'm going to go bomb Cambodia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's like sort of Nixon's shit.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
It's very
He's
interesting.
wounded.
Like our only Catholic presidents have been JFK and unfortunately Joseph Biden. Our only Quaker president was Richard Nixon, right? Maybe one of the early. I feel so fucking edutained. Martin Van Buren was in the Dutch Reformed Church.
Ooh, I always Van Buren. No, who's the one I like? Oh, I like Quincy Adams. They're all bastards. Like, they're all bad people.
Quincy Adams
was one good president.
Was
we
a
have
Unitarian.
Never had a good president.
A Unitarian. No. What about Jimmy Carter?
Who was a Unitarian?
Yeah,
John Quincy Adams. Fucking
I would say Jimmy
wishy-washy.
Carter is like the least bastard among bad.
He's the
men.
only one.
Still a farmer, right?
Yeah, he was a farmer, but
he's still a farmer.
He's still a farmer. It's crazy he's still alive. Him and Henry Kissinger, who, by the way, is also like in the mix doing all the horrible shit.
Currently in Israel?
No. I mean, in the 1970s.
I thought you were like,
60s
he's still,
and
and
70s.
Kissinger is still in it. Doing
I don't
horrible
think
shit.
he's still
and
in
I was
it.
like,
I think
that actually, I mean, yeah, if anyone was going to be, sure.
Kissinger is like somewhere in a compound being like infused with like the blood of like young boys or something, right?
For sure. I mean, how old is he? Like 172?
Yeah, and I don't mean like in a child trafficking way.
He is 100 years old.
Yeah, he's 100 years old. I think he's probably
there were 5 Unitarian presidents.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
It
used to be like a big deal.
It must have meant something different back then.
There's like
and
a
Abraham
beer...
Lincoln he was like non-denominational.
Yeah, but that's a Christian fellow.
There's like an old Unitarian church that's like a beer restaurant and German food bar place here now. And I'm like, it's so old. I only found out because I went there and I was like, they were like, there's like a thing. It's like, this is a Unitarian church from like 1865.
What is Unitarian? I had to go to Unitarian church for one summer when I was a kid.
Well, tell us about it.
I went to Unitarian church.
It was an old man with a walking stick.
It was I don't have a great frame of reference. I was like on this like teen community board.
It is a social club for guilty feeling parents who also go to the food co-op. And one are like, we should do something we should do something spiritual as a family. But, like they're like scared to commit, to anything actual. So they go to the Unitarian church and everyone just talks about like being positive.
My parents went there when for like a year when I was like 9 and they told me openly that they like, they were like, hey, it's really hard to make friends in your 40s. And I was like, that's so stupid. Why are we going to church? Just because why am I have to get up early on Sunday just to like go to church so you can make friends? And now I'm like, I get it. It is hard to make friends.
For sure.
And I understand. Like totally. Also one time I won at meditating there. I was the best meditator in the little boys class. Well, we did meditating one day and I fell asleep and then like I woke up like right at the end of class and then like the teacher told my parents that I was like a natural and that I was like incredible at meditating. But really I had just fallen asleep.
Fallen asleep.
Yeah. I was the best. I won the meditating contest.
One of the only things I remember from having to go to church, Unitarian church, was like learning about neighboring counties that had been like devastated by the tornadoes and like trying to help them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they do totally fine things. They're just like silly,
I think it's just like you want to do churchy stuff, but like, you want all the different.
Yeah.
You want a variety, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I went
like
to
a
a meeting
pack.
of Wiccans at the Unitarian church in in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And they were such huge losers that it made me stop wanting to be a witch.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's like witches.
It was like a 58-year-old man with like a braid you know,
And you were like
and
16.
a vest. Yeah, and then like a woman who seemed like maybe she wrote like a like erotic vampire fiction. It was not a good situation. I said
I'm gonna
I
be
actually
like
don't want to be
honest,
part
like,
of this.
That kind of sounds cool to me. Like I feel like I could rock like a braided beard and a vest.
It was like
in, like,
there were
50
no.
years when I'm
Do you
I
older.
think you
have
could?
you also
Are you
Dylan.
gonna start playing the pan flute, Dylan?
Maybe. It
Are you
looks
gonna start
easy.
going
I
to
could see him.
gong baths?
Gong bats?
Gong baths. Gong baths. Is that what
Oh,
you want?
dude.
Healing crystal bowls.
Oh my god.
Gong baths in
Sorry.
the salt cave. That's what you want.
Emma is going to like a retreat tomorrow where they're doing all those things
What? Why?
in Oklahoma.
What?
It's a whole thing.
Oh my god.
It sounds fun.
Well-
To be clear, like her aunt is like into this stuff and is like, "Come with me." And she's
Everyone
like, okay.
has a new agey aunt, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I
well,
don't,
exactly.
but most people do.
I do, yeah. And God bless her.
Izzy instead
God's
has
bless
like
her.
a terrifying Calvinist aunt who disapproves of everything.
Ooh, that's cool.
She's
Yeah.
the opposite of a new agey aunt.
I have like a
Yeah.
relative. I don't know how she's related to me. I think she's like my great. She's like whatever. She was like married to like one of my great uncles or aunts or something. But like I don't know who she is. She is at every funeral.
Uh-huh.
That I've been to in Bloomington in the past like 20 years.
Yeah.
She has the biggest hair I've ever seen.
Hell
And she knows everything about my life. And I'm so scared of her. And I don't know who she is. Her name is Susan. And I don't know, like, she'll be like, "I heard you dropped out of college." And I'm like, "How did you know that?" This is my second cousin's funeral. And also I haven't seen you since like my grandma's funeral or whatever.
Maybe
like, it's just
Susan isn't
crazy.
actually related to you guys. And she just shows up at your family funerals like some kind of stalker.
Maybe I'm like the only one that can see her.
Yeah.
She's like a cool shame ghost.
Susan.
She's really sweet though.
We've never met anyone named
Shame
Susan.
ghost.
Like she has to be 100. Like she was like 80 when I was like 8. I can't. Anyway, this is besides the point. Hi Susan, if you're listening.
We have got to
Hi,
wrap it up
Susan.
soon.
We're okay.
Closing it in like 2 hours.
Dude, I'm telling you, we're almost on page 4 of my notes.
Wow.
That's how screwed up this is and messed up.
Screwed
Okay,
up and
so
messed up.
it's so screwed up and messed up, dude. So basically, I'm not going to do all the political intrigue
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's
that's
just
fine.
too much. It's just too much political intrigue. There's like all these trials and shit. What I am going to tell you about is the ooh, excuse me. One moment.
Dylan's dying.
Oh, I got a hair in my throat.
Oh, yeah?
Oh no.
Yeah, I got one of my own. I did it to myself again. So he's
I
got all
one
these
of my own.
hair in my throat.
You know, they say-
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, also, this is a classic image. I have to paste in the chat. There you go. Okay. So you guys, next time I do a topic, it's gonna be like,
Wow. Uh-huh.
yeah,
It's gonna,
exactly.
It's going to be like what?
What is this?
It's gonna be like next time I do a topic, it's gonna be like, I don't know, like towel, or like it's gonna be like it's gonna be like soup. It's gonna be like Campbell's soup, and I'm gonna do a 20-minute mini episode about the history of Campbell's soup.
Are you saying
And
you
we're gonna
got
get
in too
distracted.
deep with Dicky?
I got way too deep.
I'm loving it.
Pretty Ricky.
With Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
With Dicky Boy.
So, gosh.
What is this chapstick plug-in device?
This is
Yeah,
some kind
we'll
of
get to that.
rig.
That's a rig for sure. So in June of 1972, on June 17th, not on June 17th. What am I talking about? Gosh, I can't even read.
He
'Cause I went
cannot.
to that
Folks,
school
he
that should be
cannot
illegal.
read.
Whatever. In June, there was a security guard one night at the Watergate office building in D.C. Noticed some tape on the latch of a door. And suspecting a break-in, he called the police, who arrived dressed as hippies. Police officers arrived dressed as hippies. They just come straight from like a drug bust.
Nice.
And they came in and arrested 5 men who had broken into the Democratic Party's offices in the Watergate office building.
And what's wrong with that?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just like some shenanigans. Like Nixon loved fun. Like he loved intrigue. He was like a beautiful like flower that we trampled on. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I have to talk about all the weird stuff he said. Anyway, about all his views on women and on gay
I'm
people.
sure they were fine.
I've posted some videos earlier in the chat. I don't know if we can bear to do that, but basically, Richard Nixon. Just to summarize, he. When he taped everything, he also said like unhinged shit in his office, and then those tapes were released to the public, including him drunk talking about Watergate,
Nice.
him accusing the TV show All in the Family of promoting homosexuality because like the 2 men are too affectionate towards each other, talking about how women shouldn't be allowed to curse,
legally.
He was really obsessed with like gay people. Like he said that gay people. It's not a choice. He was very much like it's not a choice. They're born this way.
Yeah.
He said they have a problem.
Woke king. Wait, what?
Yeah. No. He said the F slur all the time. He also thought that the media was creating more gay people, which was going to doom America. He because he in his evidence for that, he said that many of the greatest men in history have been F words. His words, and that like look at Socrates, and then he believed that ancient Greece was doomed because of homosexuality.
Oh, that's why. That's interesting.
And not the Roman army invading them or whatever. But like the fall of Greece was like they were too weak because they normalized gayness, and that's why All in the Family was over the line. He really worried about like women cursing. Like he really did not like it when women talked about sex or cursed, and he was very concerned when men on TV were affectionate. Can you imagine like TV now? Like, can you imagine like what would happen to his brain if he saw like I don't know, like Modern Family?
Yeah.
And those horrible gay men are like adopting a baby on Modern Family. Do you think his like brain would explode?
I mean, it's hard to say. Like, if are you talking about a time travel situation?
Yeah, like you pop back in time with a laptop. You open it up. He's like, "What is that?" And you're like, "Shut up, Nixon."
Yeah.
And then you like show him like a Lil Nas X video, the one where he's in prison with Jack Harlow and they're all wearing pink jumpsuits.
Yeah. So it was fine when he recorded all that stuff, right?
Yeah, it went well. So these 5 burglars were arrested by police dressed as hippies. They had a lookout who was distracted.
Nice.
He didn't recognize the police as police because they were dressed as hippies, but also he was supposed to be watching from a building across the street, but he had tuned in to a TV program called Attack of the Puppet People.
Oh.
So the only reason they got caught basically is because the guy who was the lookout was watching something called Attack of the Puppet People and was not looking.
Happens all the time. It's not a big deal.
So they arrest these 4 guys. We actually still don't know what they were doing. It was like pretty early in the break-in. We do know that they broke in earlier and installed recording devices, but the recording devices didn't work. So we don't really know what they were even supposed to be doing to this day. But they were arrested. The 5 men, 4 of them, they were referred to as the Cubans. Only 3 of them were Cubans. 4 of them had been active in the CIA operations against Fidel Castro. The 5th one was a guy named James McCord Jr., who, coincidentally enough, was the head of security for the committee to re-elect the president.
Oh, that seems fine and normal.
Which, like, you're going to send the guy who's, like, literally, like, an employee of your re-election campaign to, like, do this? Like, that's insane. Get a 5th guy
sloppy.
who's not who doesn't work for you technically, right? The police found lockpicks, door jimmies, $2,300 in cash, most of it in $100 in sequential bills. A shortwave receiver for police signals, 40 rolls of unexposed film, 2 35mm cameras, and 3 pen-sized tear gas guns, like some James Bond shit. And then one of them also had a telephone book which had the name E. Howard Hunt in it, who was a consultant working for the White House Office of Special Investigations. The White House Office of Special Investigations, also known as the Plumbers, were a group of consultants who were all like ex-FBI and ex-CIA guys who basically just were like doing crazy shenanigans for Nixon. They also found the James McCord Jr.'s hotel room that he was staying in, and then traced the phone calls, which led to G. Gordon Liddy, who was the other guy running the White House Office of Special Investigations. So they have them like immediately, like within a day, they like know that they're connected to the White House, basically. But I'd like to just quickly talk about the Plumbers, the CRP, or the campaign to reelect the president, and the White House Office of Special Investigations. This is some of the things that they did. They kidnapped multiple anti-war protest organizations and then put them on a boat in Mexico with during the RNC, so that they couldn't cause a scene. They also took certain Democratic campaign officials. They lured them to a houseboat in Miami and then photographed them in compromising positions with prostitutes that they hired.
Well,
sex
shouldn't have
workers.
done that.
I'm sorry, I'm quoting. Basically, the gist of this is that these people were overseen by Nixon's Attorney General, John Mitchell, who later became his campaign manager, and they were just like throwing these crazy ideas at him, and he was rejecting most of them, and these were the conservative ideas that were approved by the Attorney General of the United States. He also, Daniel Ellsberg, who leaked the Pentagon Papers, the huge Vietnam war crimes leak that happened. They broke into his psychiatrist's office to steal his mental record, his psychiatry records, to see if they could get something on him to arrest him with. And then eventually they did the Watergate break-in. Nixon immediately claimed, no knowledge. The guys were all tried. The 5 guys plus, Hunt and Liddy were tried for, conspiracy, burglary, federal wiretapping law. Nixon said he had no knowledge, and the prosecutor, the first prosecutor, believed Nixon, because of a taped phone call that was disclosed, where Nixon said, "Who was the asshole that did that?" when he was told about the Watergate tapes.
Nice.
But unfortunately, which was also some prosecutor, dude.
Yeah.
It was after the fact, and he also the tone, he could have been oh, what? Who was the asshole that did that? Who messed up?
Yeah, right. That's a very ambiguous statement.
There was also a kidnapping involved. The cover up was extensive. Unfortunately they tried to cover it up, but they had already recorded everything that they had ever said about it. And also told a bunch of way too many people knew about this. Way too many people were involved in if the attorney general, the chief of staff, all of your campaign officials, your senior aides, they all know about this. This woman named Martha Mitchell, who was the wife of John Mitchell, who's Nixon's current head of the campaign to reelect the president and former chief of staff. Martha Mitchell knew James McCord, one of the burglars, and she was a very principled woman. They didn't think about this in advance at all, that the guy who was in charge of Nixon's campaign's wife knew the burglar and didn't know about the break-in. So her husband, John Mitchell, the head of the committee to reelect the president, ordered his personal security to not let her speak to the media. She eventually snuck away and got on the phone with a reporter and didn't get all of the information out, but she said that she was going to leave her husband until he resigned because of what he had done.
Nice.
And then the line went dead. She was found like a few days later by an investigative journalist, basically being held captive in a hotel in California, where she was like confined to her room. She was like injured from trying to escape multiple times, like crazy shit.
This is wild. Like, I didn't know about this part of Watergate.
Yeah, like
the woman kidnapping part.
Yeah,
what was her name?
Her name was Martha Mitchell. They kidnapped the wife, like the attorney general, the former chief of staff and the head of the committee to reelect, the head of Nixon's campaign, went, my wife knows the guy who just got arrested. She's gonna figure it out. And then when she did figure it out, he ordered her to be kidnapped.
Yeah. Well, loose ends.
Yeah.
Her husband?
Yes, her husband ordered the kidnapping.
Oh my God.
And then, he was reelected in a landslide election. He only lost Massachusetts and D.C. right around this time.
Nice.
A lot of people, didn't even pay attention to this, I guess, at first, or, the only people, it was, he said it was just, a political, attack, and that these were just some, weird burglars who he kind of knew, but not really. Basically, the gist of this is that it seems like it's going to go away. He won the election. And then basically the stupid Washington Post reporters from that movie, Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward.
Yeah, Will Ferrell in the film, Dick.
Mm-hmm. They were fed information from the director of the FBI, or associate director of the FBI, who linked all of these different men to the Watergate investigation. It felt like it really should have been. Is that Deep Throat? Yeah, that's Deep Throat.
Nice.
Later revealed to be Mark Felt. But,
yeah, that's right. Didn't that not come out until pretty recently?
Yeah, really recently. Yeah. But basically, there wasn't any hard evidence until July of 1973. So he's already won re-election and been inaugurated and everything. A White House aide named Alexander Butterfield testified under oath that Nixon had a secret taping system that was recording all of his conversations. The Watergate special counsel Archibald Cox subpoenaed the tapes. Nixon provided transcripts, but not the tapes, and said at executive privilege you can't have the tapes. And then...
which means because I say so, right?
Exactly, yeah. This is the guy investigating him, in charge of investigating him. And then when Archibald Cox insisted that he, comply with the subpoena, Nixon had him fired and replaced by a guy named Leon Jaworski. Nixon's lawyers also accidentally, apparently, revealed that the tapes had an 18.5-minute gap in the thing.
Nice.
And then his secretary, his personal secretary, a woman named Rosemary Woods, just kind of was like, oops, that's my bad. I'm sorry. I was transcribing the tape, but I accidentally hit the wrong button. Basically, it wasn't conclusive proof because they didn't have the tapes. But then the Saturday Night Massacre happened, where that's where he basically fired Cox, and then he fired Cox by basically the guy who could make that decision refused to do it, and then they fired that guy, and then the next guy in line also refused to do it, and then he fired that guy. Nixon also fired all of his aides, which was really dumb. Basically
all the
anyone
who
had
knew
knowledge
about
of
his
it.
shit.
Yeah, all these fucking White House aides know about this illegal stuff that they're doing, and he fires all of them so that he can have plausible deniability, distance from once these guys are linked to it. That way they don't work for me anymore. So which really just kind of turned everybody against him. People started testifying. People started testifying, and then the tapes were eventually obtained. And there are tapes on there where he's just talking about the burglary openly. It was just sort of I guess they didn't get the tapes until after he resigned, but basically it was just like he had already.
He like knew it was
the
over. Walls were closing in, right?
Yeah, like he was gonna get got.
I mean, he said he wasn't a crook when he resigned, right? So
he did say, well, he said that before he resigned. A lot of people went to prison. Also, like a lot of he resigned. Even though he didn't give up the tapes, he resigned when like the aides that were closest to him that he fired for political, so that he would be safe, like flipped on him and testified under oath all the stuff he did. And also, one of them was like, oh yeah, Nixon like offered me a gigantic bribe. And then like, oh yeah, also like Nixon threatened me. Like it was just like all these like crazy things that Nixon tried to do. I'm not going to go into the specifics because there's a bunch of them, and God, who cares, right? Some of the tapes were, were obtained, including the smoking gun tape, where basically he's just like talking about the actual burglary.
Yeah,
when he was
the burglary.
drunk.
No, the drunk one is just funny. He's just drunk. I guess I don't think that's the smoking gun tape. I forgot I listened to it earlier today. But he he resigned, and it's just really sad. Like he
I always wondered, like, what did he do after that?
Yeah.
Riding horses or
Yeah, he did great stuff.
Like
So
what?
he resigned. He said he resigned for the good of the country. He really resigned because like the impeachment proceedings were starting, and he was like definitely going to get convicted and go to jail and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Or at least like lose his office. He sort of like admitted to it, but not really, and he resigned. And then he was pardoned. He said his biographer said he was a soul in torment after his resignation.
Well, what are you gonna do with yourself?
Right? Yeah, I mean, so he was succeeded by Gerald Ford, Vice President Gerald Ford, who pardoned him in 1974. So like before he was like sentenced to anything, he was given a full, free, and absolute pardon without possibility of indictment. Which is like, blah. He also got sick. He got a puffy leg. Oh my God, he got a puffy leg. I'm reading his biography. I don't know what he did after. He got phlebitis. It's the inflammation of a leg vein.
Poor guy.
He got an operation, and he that's so sad. Yeah, he was okay though, and then now he has a library.
Yeah, where? In Yorba Linda?
California. Yeah, it's probably in Whittier.
You get a presidential library even if you get impeached, or
it doesn't matter.
Leave in disgrace.
If you're
you can do anything, and you get a presidential library.
Yeah.
Even if you're interim.
Where's the Trump presidential library going to be?
That's a good question. Manhattan.
Yeah, definitely Manhattan.
Yeah.
He gave a bunch of
Or
interviews
Nevada.
where he was like candid-ish about it in the 70s after. But apparently in 1975 he only had $500 in the bank. But keep in mind in 1975 that was like $40,000 probably. So
yeah, sure.
I don't know. He had to sell his property at Key Biscayne.
No, Key Peebus? Where?
He had to sell his beach house at Key Biscayne
His
to a trust
Peebus?
set up he had to sell it to. Oh, he sold it to a trust set up by his wealthy friends such as BB Rebozo. What the fuck?
What?
BB Rebozo.
BB Rebozo, his friend bought his house and then kind of gave it back to him, I think. And then he visited China at the personal
God, what a
invitation
cool
of
name.
Mao, which is weird.
I thought he hated communists.
Yeah, he hated whatever, I think. I
Yeah.
think the real like bottom line with Nixon is like he hated whatever that.
Who's
But you
BB
privately meet him
Rebozo?
now.
BB Rebozo is a businessman who is a friend
Is
of
that
Richard
BB
Nixon.
Rex's friend? BB Rebozo?
People had,
Is that
men were
BB
men.
Netanyahu?
People ate light bulbs. People had names back then.
Where isn't
Not back when people had names.
Isn't Rebozo an instrument? Isn't there an instrument called a Rebozo?
BB Rebozo. What's your question?
BB Rebozo.
Is it BIBI?
It's BEBE.
BB.
Like BB Rexa.
Oh,
Yeah, like BB
everyone, I have an important
like
update.
BB Newworth. What?
BB is a nickname. He's Charles BB
No,
Rebozo.
fuck you. Shut up. BB Rebozo.
You know what's fucked up? I
What?
skimmed my Watergate notes. I just gave up on Watergate by the end.
Well, that's fine. There's a lot to cover. BB
Yeah,
Rebozo.
it's too many. BB
Oh, he
Rebozo.
was Cuban. It's just baby in Spanish. I love BB Rebozo. He's
Oh, that's
I like
cute.
BB Rebozo.
BB
so bad.
Rebozo is such a good name.
He's an
BB Rebozo.
According
You
to
could do-
BB
That could be
Rebozo.
any profession, BB Rebozo.
No, that's bullshit. BB Rebozo's lying. According to BB Rebozo, he was swimming with Nixon in June 1972 when the Watergate break-in happened.
Oh,
And
nice.
he was-
So
Yeah.
Just two
and then
guys
also-
swimming. Whatever.
And then he was also together with Nixon on the night that Nixon decided to resign.
wow, I don't think men should be spending that much time together.
It sounds like they were long-term partners.
Yeah.
And of course they met through the Florida representative George Smathers.
Of course. People really had names back then.
People really had names. BB Rebozo, George Smathers.
Look at this. When Nixon was vacationing in Key Biscayne, Smathers had Rebozo take Nixon.
BB Rebozo.
BB Rebozo had Smathers took BB Rebozo and Nixon deep sea fishing. Rebozo and Nixon then started a friendship that endured 44 years. They became
He's
best
longtime
friends.
companion, BB Rebozo.
Financial and real estate advisor to Nixon. In 1968, Rebozo even changed parties from Democratic to Republican.
So they flipped houses together?
Yeah, they flipped houses together and they hung out.
Oh, BB Rebozo.
Do you think they were lovers?
Mevis Peevis.
Actually, this is the happiest picture I've ever seen of Nixon.
Yeah.
With BB?
Yeah.
He does.
He was probably the light of his life.
They're having a great time.
Oh, the picture I sent also, when they broke in, they had secret microphones that were disguised as chapsticks.
Not very well disguised.
I love this.
They have big cords on them.
This.
They have giant white cords on
Huge
them and
cords.
also a hex nut and a big button in the middle. I don't understand.
That's not what your chapstick looks like.
They just loved shenanigans back then. This is
Yeah.
not useful.
Yeah.
How is this useful?
It is kind of exciting to look at, though.
Yeah. It's also exciting to notice how little chapsticks have changed.
Yeah, that does exactly
Yeah.
the same.
These also
Well,
appear to
I
be
was thinking
NFL
kind of-
edition.
A chapstick is kind of like a good idea for a microphone because you could have the wire go down your sleeve.
Yeah, have it right up to your
and
mouth.
And you could, have the put a chapstick on.
If
my
you were
other
trying to
mouth, or
record
maybe you could
yourself.
say, Nixon,
Yeah.
do you want some chapstick?
I'm just like, why
But
wouldn't you
keep
use an
it so
iPhone?
you can't see the wire, so you have to do it with your arm, your wrist angled
Yeah.
down.
You're like, Nixon?
This person does not know how to put chapstick on. Sorry, Dylan. What?
Sorry, Dylan.
This is your episode.
I don't listen. I'm not happy. You know,
Yeah.
I like,
too
you know,
much Pretty Ricky.
do you know how much Pretty Ricky I had to read about? And I don't know about him. I don't like him.
You do know. You now know about him, Dylan.
I now know about him, but I don't want to talk about Watergate ever again.
That's fine.
We don't have to.
Just think of the two boys there in Key Peebus having a beautiful time deep sea fishing together with
BB
their
Rebozo.
lifelong partners,
And they love each other.
and they love each other. They're there in Key Biscayne.
Miss Kane.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Oh, the tapes definitely got released. I forgot. The tapes did get released, but he resigned immediately when they got released.
Bye.
He was like, "Oh, bye bye."
Yeah.
He was like, "Whoop."
What do you think
also-
they got together doing there in Peebus?
Does BB Rebozo reside in Peebus Kane?
I think he resides nearby Key Biscayne with Schmeckers and BB Rebozo for sure.
You're asking
Mr. Schmeckers, what is his name? Mr.
Smathers.
Spabbers?
Smathers.
Smathers?
Like a smattering.
Smathers.
Smattering.
But he needs to know if BB was in Peebus.
So does BB Rebozo reside in Peebus Kane?
Peebus.
Peebus Kane.
BB Rebozo.
BB Rebozo.
It says he's from Florida.
Yeah, Peevis.
Is that where Peevis Kane is? Is that in Florida?
I'm reading his
probably
obituary.
go
He died in
deep sea
1998, May 10th, 1998. He's the son of Cuban immigrants who became a successful
Oh,
and
so
largely
Nixon-
unassuming Florida
Nixon
banker.
never had to live without him because he died in 1994.
Yeah. He died 4 years later, almost to the day.
And Peevis Kane.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was a personal confidant, although not a political or policy advisor.
Okay.
They met in
Sure.
1950.
Because they were busy turning those houses out, making them look good.
They golfed, swam, and boated together.
I'm sure they did.
Nixon's residence in Key Biscayne, known as the Winter White House, was near the Rebozo home, so they were neighbors.
Is it Peevis or Peevis? Is it
Key,
Peevis Kane?
it's Key. It's like
The
it's like
Rebozo
key
home?
lime.
Key
It's like
Biscayne?
it's like Key Biscayne. Biscayne. P
I
Biscayne.
thought you were saying Peevis Kane.
Beavis came.
Key Biscayne.
No, is
okay.
it Beavis?
Of the
Oh,
break-in,
here they are with their dog.
they look really sweet, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Nixon innocent.
Nixon
Richard Nixon
Peevis.
innocent. Pretty Richie innocent.
I think that he was, the victim of the patriarchy and homophobia.
This
And if he just accepted his life with Peevis Kane right out the gate, he could have saved a lot of trouble.
This
No, he was too busy
article-
bombing. He was too busy bombing Cambodia
Listen,
and Laos and
this
stuff. and
article in the Daily Mail headline: Did Nixon have a gay affair with a mafia fixer? They're talking about PBBB. Forget Watergate. A new book claims America's most corrupt president hit a far more personal scandal. First paragraph. Thank you, Daily Mail. He carpet bombed Cambodia, spewed out anti-Semitic slurs and crude misogynistic jokes in the White House, and smeared his political opponents with ruthless dirty tricks campaigns.
he was very anti-Semitic.
Yeah, there's like many paragraphs about here's all the stuff he did that's bad. And then finally they're like, yet the most extraordinary claim is that the homophobic Nixon may have been gay himself.
Well, I do think it's interesting that he's like obviously anti-gay stuff in every way, except that it's like not their fault. Like-
Yeah, that is sort of like, seems maybe personal.
Are you like a gay, closeted, narcissist maniac kind of where it's like, I can't say that they're bad people because
Right,
I'm
Because I'm
bad.
one of them, yeah.
Because I'm one
And
of them.
I'm not
but
bad.
and some great men like Oscar, he was like Oscar Wilde and Socrates and blah, 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 were all gay, but they all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they
He's
doomed
like, and
the
I'm
empire.
just like them.
Right.
Yeah, but
I'm
two
the
all in
Oscar
the
Wilde
family.
of carpet bombing Cambodia.
He really was. He really was. BB once said about Watergate, "We were swimming at Key Biscayne in front of my house. They came out and told him." He said,
does reside.
He resides.
"Yeah,
he
they were
resides.
neighbors.
His
They were
home is in-
neighbors."
his home is in Peebus.
Nixon spent so much time at his property in Key Biscayne that they called it the Winter White House because he'd go down there to sun with BB in the
With
winter.
his first wife, with the first lady of
Keebus.
the nation,
Right.
BB.
He has
But he
his
said, "We're swimming
Washington
at Key
wife and his
Biscayne
Keebus wife.
in front of my house. They came out and they told him about Watergate.
See, they came out. See?
They came out and they told him about Watergate. He said, 'What in God's name were they doing there?' Then, Rebozo recalled, 'We laughed and forgot about it.'"
Nice. This Daily Mail
That's so sweet.
article.
It sounds like they had a really great relationship.
Yeah.
That they, could
They had
just
fun.
go
They just had
off.
fun together.
Yeah.
They had
that's
fun.
great.
The Daily Mail
He-
calls
That is fun.
BB Rebozo a wheeler dealer. A
He,
mafia connected wheeler dealer.
He never. Well, his obituary calls him an unassuming Florida banker and businessman.
Well, Dan Rather called him a man who transmitted the sense of transmitted the sense of great sensuality and played tribute to his magnetic personality and beautiful eyes when BB Rebozo died. That's what Dan Rather said about him.
Okay, so he was a major hunk.
He was
and all
a
the guys wanted him.
Major hunk, and even Dan Rather wanted him.
Huh. After he was interviewed by the Miami Herald about his friendship with Nixon much later, and he said that Nixon was Everything they say he's not. He's a very sensitive man, very thoughtful, and of course, very brilliant.
Well, this says that Mrs. Nixon didn't even sleep in the same building as Pretty Ricky when they were in Peebus.
Yeah,
Wow.
Nixon was...
Rebozo, however, was in the house next door.
Listen, Nixon was a
In the
straight
same room.
guy with
More like it.
nuanced and sort of tortured views on homosexuality, murderer, and also didn't like when women talked about sex and thought that some great men were homosexuals, but that in spite of the temptation, it must be avoided because you're going to cause the empire to fall. Okay, that's like the straightest thing I've ever heard.
Henry Kissinger, here's the Daily Mail says, Henry Kissinger is believed to have resented the way Rebozo would fly on Air Force One, the presidential plane, wearing a blue U.S. Navy flight jacket bearing the president's seal and with his name stitched on it. Whose
See?
name? Wait. Did he have...
Nixon's?
Right.
He was Nixon's
Did
gal.
he have a little tracksuit that said, like, Mrs. Nixon? Or did he get his own BB?
He had a little tracksuit
Yeah.
that said Mrs. Nixon.
But what
I
if
love
for
that.
Christmas Nixon got him, like, on, it says, like, BB. It's embroidered in
Like
the back.
Air Force.
Air Force
a
One.
special
The seal.
BB.
And then you have
Yeah.
BB. Kissinger...
And that's cute because BB means baby.
It's so cute.
So that's really
Kissinger's
cute.
like, I wanted a tracksuit. I wanted to be Mrs. Nixon.
Oh, he was also
I
like...
wanted to be his baby.
He was also like almost definitely one of the people who was like funneling these like shady cash donations to Nixon when when he went on TV and was like, but you can't take away my dog, and everybody was like, aw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. He is definitely seems
I think
like
it's
he was maybe
beautiful.
in the mafia.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. It's just that the Daily Mail is making a really good case for it.
I think that they weren't lovers, but that I do think that they could have been lovers if only homosexuality was, not so destructive to empires. I think that Nixon restrained himself because he knew that, he does gay stuff like one time, and I don't know, maybe he doesn't bomb Cambodia as much. Maybe it all goes downhill from here just because he did too much kissing in Key Biscayne with BB Rebozo.
On Nixon's solo visits to Key Biscayne, they swam and sunbathed, indulging in their shared passions for discussing Broadway musicals and barbecuing steaks.
No comment.
It also does, you know what though? It's kind of weird because like everyone turned on Nixon in the end. Like
But not
everyone.
BB.
Everybody testified, and then also Nixon turned on everyone. Like Nixon was like threatening people's families and shit, and like Nixon first tried to bribe all of his aides. Which, by the way, why would you tell all of your aides about your crazy, weird conspiracy crime?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why would you tell any of them?
Why would you do? I mean, I guess he has a point that someone has to change the reels on the tape machine, but shit, I mean, I don't know why. It just feels like why did you're gonna tell like. I've watched The West Wing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the White House counsel? Like, the chief counsel? Like, you're telling, like,
That's Toby?
Yeah, no, that's, like,
Josh.
the guy in the that's, like, the lady in the basement who's a Republican, but she's, like, bipartisan.
Yeah.
But, like,
her.
you're telling, like, the attorney general, too? Like, the chief the guy responsible for all, like, major prosecution-y stuff in the country. Like, you're, like, gonna tell all these guys. And then these, like, junior aides.
It's funny. He's like,
well.
I'm Teflon, baby. I'm Teflon, baby. I'm Richard Nixon.
I'm Richard Nixon. You
I
can't catch me.
I got PBBB at the back. I'm fine.
This should be Nixon 1 and 2. But what... We can't
you
do...
didn't
we
ask
can't do
for it,
Nixon
and you got it, and you got it 2 times.
Listen, you said do Nixon, and I was like, what does that mean? So I just did it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You did
This
it.
is the dance of Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
It's so...
This is his last dance.
The Ballad of Pretty Ricky.
I realized, like, I was like, this is such a mistake, like, as soon as I started, because I was like, this is, like, it's too much.
No, it's great. I've
It's
learned
perfect.
so much about Little Nicky.
I know
I'm so
everything
sorry.
about Lil
And
Nicky.
BB Rebozo.
We didn't even talk about Watergate.
Key
We did.
Biscayne,
You
there's just so
absolutely
much.
talked about Watergate.
Yeah.
I skipped
We
like
just
a
talked
whole
about what
round of
mattered, which is
I
that
skipped a
he
whole
was
round
swimming
of
in the
leaks.
ocean.
That's
I even talk about like
fine.
the FBI guy emptying out the
Doesn't matter.
safe and all that
That's fine.
stuff. I
It's
don't
fine.
even who cares.
It's fine. We're that's not the kind of podcast we are. We're BB Rebozo.
This
Yeah,
is
we're
a BB Rebozo. Should we change our name to the BB Rebozo podcast?
BB Rebozo updates.
BB Rebozo updates.
Live from Key Biscayne.
Yeah,
Unfortunate
Peebus.
P Biscayne. Dude, Peebus Kane is like the best name I can think of, actually.
It's
First
not-
name Peebus, last name Kane.
Yeah, BB Kane. I mean, it's not as good as
Yeah.
BB Rebozo, but it's pretty good. Oh,
Sarah-
Rebozo is just.
I have to
beautiful.
find out if Rebozo is an instrument. I swear to God, Rebozo is something. Oh no,
Are
no,
you
no.
familiar with the biblical story of Peebus and Cain?
A rebozo is a long garment similar to a shawl, mostly worn by women in Mexico. I knew what a rebozo was.
Maybe he came from a Rebozo manufacturing family.
Frida Kahlo famously wearing a rebozo all the time.
Ah.
I'm not going to lie, like, the photos of them together are the happiest
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
ever
he's
seen
got his
Nixon. And, like, the
dog.
most relaxed I've
Yeah.
ever seen Nixon
Yeah.
look.
Oh, he was kicking it.
Yeah, for sure.
He was getting it full time.
I knew the second I saw Community Theater. Sorry to play into stereotypes.
Oh no, I mean, some things are stereotypes because they're true.
No, I mean, the highlight of... I think maybe the highlight of his legal career is, you know, as far as I know, is, like, refusing... The only type of case he would refuse would be divorce cases because he couldn't bear to hear women talk about sex.
Yeah, it's gay.
That's... Well, you know, he's also straight, though. You don't know.
all right.
He wouldn't let the empire
Sarah said
fall.
earlier he was bi.
Yeah, I mean,
He could be bi.
He's
He
bi.
had children.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. That doesn't.
So-
necessarily
so did a
mean
lot of
straight,
people.
though. Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm not really familiar with sexualities.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what everybody's doing.
Oh,
You don't have to. It's because it's none of your business.
it's none of your business. But
You can
listen,
you could just be concerned with whatever's happening with
everyone's doing everything.
I'm not sure.
Everyone's doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him. Like, it seems like the only person who never turned on him no matter what.
Yeah.
Was BB.
Was BB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and probably his wife and children.
and his wife.
we don't know.
And
Checkers.
And checkers.
She was like 3 houses away, you know? She didn't.
How could she turn on him?
Yeah.
She's 3 houses away.
If she had turned her back on him, he wouldn't have known.
Listen, if you're a president and your wife isn't fake, what are you even doing?
It's true. It is a fake
That's
wife
true.
job. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by that, I just mean, like, you're probably, like, a crazy monster if you become a president,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
right? Like, that. It
No,
feels like you couldn't
Dylan, listen.
You
sustain
can't
it.
be married to a monster.
Bill and Hillary have a beautiful, sensual
Ew.
and erotic relationship together.
Ew.
Those two are those two
I
are
think George W. and Laura were real,
yes,
for real.
I do too. They seem like they actually liked each other, and it's because they're both dumb.
No, they're both
Light
really
bulbs,
smart.
light bulbs.
You guys have got to watch the 2004 Jonathan Demme Manchurian Candidate. Please do it for me.
What's Johnny Demme? What are you saying?
Jonathan Demme is a filmmaker. He famously made The Silence of the Lambs.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Manchurian Candidate, you know, it's like that's like a 60s movie based on like a, you know, sci-fi book. But it's great. It's real good. And Meryl Streep plays a villain who wants to fuck her son.
Ew.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch
And her
that.
son is the Manchurian Candidate.
Ew.
It's great. It's so good. And Denzel Washington is trying to get to the truth, and everybody is fucking gaslighting him.
Is he the Manchurian Candidate?
No.
He's the reporter.
No.
He's the BB Rebozo.
He plays the role that a reporter would play in this kind of movie if it were a little bit different. It's like he was the leader of the platoon that Liev Schreiber was in. Liev Schreiber like won a Purple Heart, became this like, you know, he's like a Kennedy son. That's sort of the, you know, clearly the illusion being made. But everyone else in this squadron is either dead or has like these weird haunting dreams where they're like, I remember it happening a different way, even though I know that he like saved all of us. So there's like mind control shit, and Denzel Washington is like, everyone thinks he's paranoid. It's great. It's a fun movie, and it's kind of spooky. Like, it's just kind of a political thriller in some ways, but in other ways it feels a lot like Silence of the Lambs, or sort of it felt to me like Candyman, in that it was kind of like a 90s it's 2004, but like feels sort of that era, like procedural horror, where it's like someone is trying to cut through a lot of bureaucratic red tape, and it's like very spooky.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Is it like Zodiac?
Sort of like it feels a little like grimier. Well, Zodiac is grimy in its own way.
Zodiac's really grimy.
Zodiac is like nighttime though, and this is sort of like daytime horror.
Daytime grimy.
Daytime grimy. Yeah. It's like Denzel Washington eating cup of noodles in an apartment while he looks at Jeffrey Wright's crazy.
That just sounds like a good time.
Yeah. No, but he's not having a good time because he's like, I think the government has put a chip in my brain.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Twists and turns. And then Meryl Streep.
While Sarah's recommending something, I would just like to shout out an ancient species of scraper tooth shark that has been identified in Mammoth Cave in Kentucky.
Shout out.
What?
Wait, there are sharks in Mammoth Cave?
It says there were some teeth found at Mammoth Cave.
Oh, it's dry. You're saying they're dry sharks.
Yeah, it's probably from Ocean, Kentucky.
Ah, okay.
Several small spoon-like teeth were found in a cave wall and in the ceiling.
Maybe
All those
cool.
dead creatures are how we got all the coal that keeps the lights on.
Thanks, friends.
Thanks, Cole.
Thanks, Cole. Hey, we should wrap this up. Even though the gods are
This
crazy.
shark died so that you could use your vape.
Yeah.
And even though the stars are
Whoa.
even though the stars are blind.
In 1986, Richard Nixon went on a diplomatic trip to meet Mikhail Gorbachev in the Soviet Union and sent a letter to President Reagan that, about Gorbachev and about the situation and, the thawing of relations between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. This was such like a popular move that he was ranked on a Gallup poll as one of the top 10 most admired men in the world, and Newsweek magazine had a cover story on him with the headline, "He's back."
Yeah, Ricky's back, baby.
You can visit the
Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky.
you can visit the Pretty Ricky Presidential Library in Yorba Linda, California, where you can also pay your respects to both Pretty Ricky and Pat, his fake wife.
Oh.
This has been Bimbo Summit. I'm so sorry. We're gonna do a shape for the next one. Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be circles all the way down. I'm afraid.
Get ready for
Ooh, we
trapezoids.
should do crop circles.
Oh yeah, let's do crop circles. Okay, good.
Circles.
Crop circles.
Circles. Next time we're doing
Circles
circles.
Okay,
It's going to be 6 minutes long.
good, perfect. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See you next
Bye.
time.